for the recording. Oh yeah, welcome to How Can She Snap? It's the Marvel Snap podcast for the filthy casuals. I'm the no big deal here with my bestie from another mother. It's
Stanky Kang.
Stanky Kang. That's right. You know the kid's out. He's out there sailing the seven seas. He's in Europe. He's gonna be gone for like 3 weeks. So we got to hold it down. We got to do our best. No mullets, no Dr. Disrespect over here. No PDF files. We're just Marvel Snap, just podcasting. We're out here. We got a good pod though today. We didn't go over the OTAs last week, so definitely like to check those out. There's some spicy ones. I mean, Destroyer's back. I mean, shit's crazy out there. And so we'll go over the OTAs, talk about this new activate mechanic, which is pretty crazy, and get into some decks, get into some spice, and we're also going to get into some stank or stonks. Okay, it's just a little game, just a little spice for the people. Anyway, so let's get it. Beep beep boop 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 beep beep boop beep boop.
The kid.
Nice, nailed it. Stanky King, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Fall season's out. I'm not sure, you've been outside today or last night when we went out, watched football together. It's cold. It's cold again here,
Yeah.
Michigan and Canada. So, busting out all the cold clothes and stuff and whatnot. Football's back. Can't go wrong with that. Heading to Texas next week, so, hoping to watch a lot of football.
You go to Texas for work?
Oh, yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, no, football's great. We're back NFL season. I won't get too into the NFL stuff here, but if anyone in the comments, we had a little debate last night, which was kind of fun, which was Jalen Hurts versus Justin Herbert. Who's the better real life quarterback? Obviously we're not talking fantasy. Hurts has the Konami code, the rushing, for fantasy. So and we're not talking that. But if you're having a franchise, if you want to win a Super Bowl this year, who do you want as your quarterback? Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert? Let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to go in there and debate with you if you disagree with me. I won't even say my position, because I don't know. It might just be nobody even watches football, but I know a lot of the Marvel Snap content guys love NFL football too. Yeah. So let us know in the comments. But let's get into this. Let's get into the season. Symbiote Spider-Man. First of all, this season's sick. I mean, I've been skipping cards. I skipped Hydra Bob, Stanky. I skipped freaking Nocturne. I don't have Ajax. I don't have Kang still, Kang's still out there. I don't have these cards because September season and October season both, at least according to the data mines, I mean the cards are just sick. They seem so fun. They seem good too. They seem good and fun. And we got two that I thought were maybe the worst two of the season, but still good ass cards. Now I might have been wrong about Sable. I'll be honest. But this Symbiote Spider-Man card, this is actually what I had as if I had to rate the cards, would have been my last rated card of the season as far as just power level. Going into the season, Glazer from Snap Decisions makes us do like a survey, and we got to rate the cards 1 to 5, and this guy had it at 5th place in last. But I mean he just there's so many possibilities, and that was my logic was my reptile brain and my ape brain is just a little bit too small to like all I could think of is like LOL Black Panther. I don't know, fuck. Galactus, we don't know. So what do you think of this card, Symbiote Spider-Man? We'll talk about activate mechanic later, but just Symbiote Spider-Man. I mean, you've been playing a lot this week, Stanky. What do you think about this card?
Yeah, I have to play a lot, no big deal. I was like on Alliance, I'm on there all the time. This new mechanic is crazy, but just Symbiote Spider-Man on its own, like we were messaging all week, and I'm just like that one Family Guy meme where it could be anything. It could even be a boat. The Symbiote Spider-Man could be anything. It can
be
a
jackal.
It could be a jackal, and it all depends. Like, I'll get into it when we talk. Well, should I talk about all of the symbiote stuff now? Like with
sure, yeah.
The negative teenager. Like I've been playing this. I've been trying out different decks. So, let's do mine here. Yeah. So this one is a nice control deck. I know you mentioned you don't have some of the cards that I have.
Okay, let's go through for the audio people, but also I'm missing 2 cards. So all right, why don't you read out the deck, Stanky, and then obviously read the actual cards.
Yeah, so this is the Stanky Symbiote one. I'm playing so much. This is deck 20 on my list here. This is so I got Nightcrawler, White Widow, Jeff, Negasonic Teenager, Storm, and for the visual people, this is Nocturne.
Yeah, I don't have Nocturne. Sorry, guys. I'm a filthy casual, all right? I don't have all the cards.
Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Iron Lad, Symbiote Spider-Man. It's not all you picked kind of wrong. Uh,
That's Namore. That's
so
Namora.
that's Namora, right? So
Yeah,
I would write that, and but Doctor Doom's Doctor Doom, right?
yeah, yeah.
So like yeah, this one I've been messing around with like this week. I know a bunch of other people have like been trying to work with like this control type deck. I really love it. Just like so, Symbiote Spider-Man where he fits in here. It's basic control where you can lock down certain lanes, you put pressure on those lanes. You can also change a ton of lanes. Like last week or the last pod you guys had, listening that you guys were talking about how Magic's coming back, right? Like
Yeah. Oh, she's back.
a ton of turn seven, right? This thing, you got Nocturne, you got Storm. Like I'm knocking that out. Like I'm ending games a little earlier than it should be.
This is a
But
6-turn game, bitch. 6-turn game.
but yeah, and so I have dabbled a bit because I unfortunately got Nomura like way back when. I'm like, this card could be cool. This card could be cool.
I think she's good, man. She's a really good card. I think, like,
She's
win
good?
rate,
Okay,
like,
yeah.
just like she's a 5/16. Like, she's a
Yeah.
good card.
She adds all like the fives to the other lanes, and I'm like, okay, like it could work here. Like with Symbiote Spider-Man, her and Doctor Tomb, you just like add 10 power like on both, right? Because like when you use the whole fun activate powers, where did you guys go into activate like last week? Like
No, not at all, not at all. We did like OTA wish list last week. That's because we did Wednesday last week recording. So yeah, we're very behind
yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, and yeah, so Symbiote Spider-Man, you tag him on like turn 6 on like Nomura, Doctor Doom. I'm getting like +10 if I have like the singles on like both sides or like one of the sides. I got Doctor Doom like pumping out twice as much, and like that one lane has like 11 power, whatever else is in there. Sometimes been rocking on Negasonic Teenager if like I have that control where like so first you play Negasonic, they'll play a card on there, pop, and if they don't play something on there, and Symbiote Spider-Man's on there, I'm like activate again because it's like the lowest card, right? It's like a low three costs. It's like another pop and stuff like that.
That's genius. It's like this card could be so many things. I've never seen it be the teenage warhead baby. I haven't seen him used in that way. Just a teenage dirtbag. So yeah, you do a double pop with Negasonic. 'Cause that's so sick. Like especially if you get priority too, right? You could get it on the turn you play the Negasonic, and then
Exactly,
somebody at the next turn. And you're just like that lane's just probably yours at that point, right? Like they can't play there. Because he'd be a 4/8, right? And they die if they play there. So that's so sick.
Exactly, yeah. And then Iron Lad too. You can have like another Iron Lad, and I think one of the I played one match this
Another
weekend.
Negasonic, yeah.
Yeah, it was so crazy too. Where like if you have multiple Symbiote Spider-Mans on the board, like wacky stuff just like happens. Like it activates here because I played on what's the doubling?
Sinister London? Are you talking about Sinister
Yeah,
London?
Sinister London, right?
Yeah.
And you got like double Spider-Mans everywhere. Like it gets like wacky in like some matchups and stuff. So overall, like I think like it's been game changing. Like I think when we were talking earlier, Symbiote Spider-Man feels to me like in Yu-Gi-Oh decks when they added synchros or like this new mechanic that just like it changes like the meta completely. I feel like, and this is the first one. Like there's gonna be more to come. Like we're just talking right now like the what's it called recency bias, right? Like Symbiote Spider-Man. Like we have other ones to come. Like you might be right that this could be like the 5th best card. Like all the ones that are coming, right?
I just don't know, yeah. But my logic was I thought the other 4 cards were really good just on their own. Well, first of all, I think Move's going to be busted. So, I think the Move cards are ridiculous. And Madam Web, so that was kind of my logic. I think it's going to be like the best deck in the game. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, then my rankings are wrong. It is what it is. But I'm kind of taking that stance. And then, so I think Move will be better than Bounce, at least till the Toxin comes out, which is like another beast card, So at least till Toxin comes out, I think Move will be better than Bounce. So I have to put like Madam Web and Aranya. I got to put them up, So and then I just think the other one, the Scarlet Spider, is just always a 4/10 on 2 lanes, which I mean it'd be good in a deck like this even, right? Like you play,
sure.
You got a Storm lane and shit. Like you just, Scarlet Spider could just hop in there. Like it's kind of similar to Captain Marvel if you think about it. But yeah, so that was kind of my logic. But this deck's pretty sick, Stanky Kang, because you're knocking down the lanes, and then you can access the lane with Doom, you access the lane with Namore, you access the lane with Marvel, like everything reaches into the other lanes basically. So Like this whole deck and Symbiote Spider-Man, yeah, just doubles up on all your effects. Like
Love
I
it.
actually never seen a lockdown Symbiote Spider-Man deck,
Yeah.
so I'm happy I had you on the pod this week. 'Cause I've just been seeing like Panther, Galactus, all
Panther.
that shit. That's all I've really seen. So that's pretty sick. And I'm happy you brought up the doubling thing because I don't know if it was a skill issue or I just don't understand the game mechanics. I played him on Bar Sinister on 4. My plan was I'm just gonna play him on Bar Sinister and then I'm just gonna earn him Zola, like whatever, like 24 power, whatever the hell he was, whatever 6 times 4 is, because I would play him and then that creates 4 symbiotes, and then I did activate, 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 and like nothing happened.
Yeah.
So do you know how that works? Like I don't fucking know.
Well, I mean, just like you, when we were talking about it, I remember I was like, oh man, everyone's playing this Galactus, like black Galactus deck. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this one's cool. This is the urban Galactus and stuff like that. Let me run this, right? And I remember having like, it was turn 6. I had Symbiote Spider-Man and I had Galactus, and I'm thinking, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Activate and then place this card. I'm like thinking that, and I guess I don't pay attention enough in school and stuff like that. So all that fun stuff, for the filthy casuals on there, right? You gotta place the card first and then activate, because activate's like its own like in its mechanics, right? So you gotta know when to press activate and such ones on there. So I didn't know that, and now I do.
That's true. It's like we're not, educated Collins channel. This is the filthy casual channel. The way we do it here is we play the cards, we lose our 8 cubes, we maybe lose another 8 cubes, and then that's how you learn the hard way. Just basically just play the fucking game and let the chips fall. That's the strat with the filthy casual strat, and we'll figure out the mechanic eventually. But yeah, the order you play it obviously matters. So but yeah, play Galactus first, then activate, and then the Galactus whiffs, but then the symbiote activates as a 4/11, right? As 11 power Galactus, which is great. Well, we weren't going to go in deck orders, and we're going to talk OTAs first. But now that we're into it, let's bring up the Wakanda Forever deck, because this is a pretty sweet deck. So I stole the shell from KK Sparkles. So shout out to KK Sparkles on Twitter there. But this deck is like it has a bunch of other stuff. Like I've added a whole bunch of other stuff to it. So you have like she was playing Kate Bishop. Mm-hmm. And she was playing something else, but something that didn't buff cards. Oh, like Psylocke, Kate Bishop. Okay. She had I basically switched out a bunch of cards for let's just buff the shit out of everything.
Right.
I want you have basically 3 game plans here, but I'll read the deck out first. So we got Chavez, Okoye, Magic, Nakia, Shuri, Gwenpool, Symbiote Spider-Man, Black Panther, Nimrod, Zola, Galactus, and Destroyer, new Destroyer, which we'll get into later. But the deck is basically like you have 3 game plans. Okay, you've got Black Panther. This is your kind of everybody knows the Black Panther stuff. You get two giant ass panthers in 2 different lanes, and oh yeah, she was playing Odin. She was playing Odin as well. I was finding that Odin just wasn't doing enough. Like maybe 1 in 10 games he would come up. So I just want to just focus on the 3 game plans, and it's like I could do one of 3 things, and they don't know what I'm going to do. So the first thing is Black Panther, which is obviously terrifying if you don't have a counter. You don't have the Cosmo, you don't have the Shadow King, whatever, So Black Panther, and then obviously you could Symbiote into Black Panther. You can Shuri into Symbiote,
Mm-hmm.
Symbiote gets pumped, then Symbiote copies Shuri. Shuri could play either Black Panther or Nimrod, So let's get into the second game plan, which is Nimrod. Honestly, this is my favorite one of the whole deck. I love going Symbiote turn 4. You get the you get the 12 power Nimrod. You could play a Zola, or you play Destroyer. You start popping your Nimrods. Like you get 12 power Nimrods going, and a lot of time they're not 12 power because we got Okoye, we got Chavez, we got Gwenpool. Magic because it's a 7-turn game, so you can Gwenpool first, then do that line for 5, 6, 7. So this could be like a 16 power Nimrod, and you just got a bunch of 16 power Kirby's just fucking running havoc on the board. And then, so like that's pretty fun. And then the last game plan, obviously, Galactus. Yeah. So you brought it up. That's why I wanted to bring this deck up. So yeah, you play the. So she had like you could Psylocke into Galactus. So I think her deck was more leaning into the Galactus game plan. And the way like I'm not a Galactus gamer, like mm-hmm. I rarely play the card. I never bought it. Actually, it's my only card that I pulled out of the collection track from like Series 5. I literally pulled a Galactus. I was like, oh fuck yeah, the big
Yeah,
bad. That was back when big bads were a thing.
yeah.
So that was my big pull that I got out of all my see like a collection level 14,000. I got my one Series 5 was Galactus.
Oh, that's great.
But I never wanted the card. I thought it was toxic, especially back then. But now it's fun.
Oh, yeah. I think
So
it's yeah.
yeah, sorry, go ahead, thank you.
No, no, no. Yeah, you're 100% right. No, keep going. All that stuff. But Galactus.
Yeah, the Galactus game plan, I like it because yeah, she could ramp into it, but this one is pretty much always a turn 6 Galactus in this deck. So
Hmm.
yeah, we're either doing Panther, Nimrod, or Galactus. We got 3 game plans, and all of these cards kind of support that. The fun thing with Galactus in this deck is you got the magic, and like you said, Kevin, like even though it's our own magic, Galactus fucking blows it up.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's like magic on 3, Symbiote maybe 4, and then like you do. Oh, you know what you do? You could do a Nimrod in a different lane, and
Yeah.
if you
And
get
then
priority, then the Galactus lane has a couple Nimrods in it, which is always great. And a lot of time you're getting priority on 5 now because you're playing against like these bounce decks, right? They
yeah.
bounce all their cards. You throw down a Nimrod. Now you have Prio for Galactus. Galactus goes boom boom. Bounce deck can't do shit in one
Yeah.
lane. They got to play all 3. And you got Galactus plus a couple Nimrods, which might be buffed in the lane.
Exactly.
Also, another card. This card's so sick to buff in this deck. Like you love hitting. Like Gwenpool hits your symbiote. Okoye, Nakia hits your symbiote. Like it multiplies a lot because this could be another double for Black Panther, which could get doubled again on Zola and stuff. So this deck's like really fun. I don't play these kind of decks, but this is the first season where I'm like, okay, let me get into it, and I've been loving it. I think this is a really good deck. It looks completely cheesy, and it is cheesy. I mean,
It is.
let's
Yeah.
be honest. Like but this is kind of a cheesy card, and I think you just got to embrace the chaos that it brings to the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it could copy anything. Like the Negasonic thing is hilarious that you
Yeah.
brought up. And, the
Perfect.
possibilities are endless.
Exactly. Perfect season card. Get everyone playing like activate cards and stuff like that. Why not pick a card that can be anything, right? And great to the lore, like Symbiote Spider-Man, just like can get on anyone with all the Venom stuff. So really cool. Very awesome addition from them.
Yeah, man, I love it, and and we'll get into the OTAs later. I mean, yeah, this guy got buffed. This is a pretty sweet variant too. I like it.
Oh, that is sweet.
Yeah, got the ink, got the little flames. I mean, I'm loving it. I like the little confetti. I don't know what the hell this split is with the confetti, but I'm into it, man. I'm digging it. Got the little black mat. Get the rewards. I think from Deadpool Diner they give us the black mat borders.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh yeah, that's another thing. You could do like Shuri into Destroyer. This could be like a 30 power destroyer that pops a Nimrod or something like. It's a fun deck, man. I love this deck a lot. So if you're looking to play like Galactus now, I think now's a good time to do it. And a lot of people are playing counters, but that's the nature. That's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
You got to deal with what you got to deal with. I think we were gonna get into OTAs, but now we talk Symbiote. I say we get into some Silver Sable. Let's talk some bounce, Stanky. You've been playing some Sable bounce, right?
Oh yeah, just started. I got all the symbiote on. And I'm like, I gotta get my 300 collector points because, what's it called? That's what you do when you have like the cards right from that week. I guess you have your bounce deck out right now, or just
Yeah, I mean this one. So let's just talk about Sable in general first. What do you think about this card? Do you think it's a strong card? What do you think about the power level of Sable? It's a 1/1, steal 2 power from the top card of your opponent's deck. So, I mean, basically a 1/5 in value if they play their card.
Exactly.
But if they don't, you could also bounce her, and she gets kind of crazy. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do you think about the Sable just in general?
I think she's a pretty good card. Like I've been enjoying using her like this week. Obviously, it's been the first week has always been like this because you get like your what's it called, the season pass card, and then it's the first week, so you got to get this card. It's like balancing both, and I never played a mix of the two, which you probably can because Spider-Man can go with anything.
You could definitely play both in bounce. Yeah, a lot of the top decks are playing Sable and
Yes.
Symbiote both.
And
Yeah.
Symbiote, exactly right. But yeah, I've just been enjoying it, like you were mentioning, right? Like Silver Sable, just like coming in there and it's like, what's the Danny Vito's come in and blast it, pop, pop, and then come in back.
Oh yeah, the animation's sick. Yeah,
It's awesome. Oh, yeah, exactly. Right. So I've been pretty happy like with this one. So like I probably like the rest of the weekend after we finish the Symbiote, what's it called? Yeah, weekend pass thing. I'm just gonna be playing some Silver Sable right now. So I think it's a pretty good card right, that you can take the two and fits perfectly in bounce. Right, just like it's a 1 cost, so it comes back to your hand, do all that stuff. What about yourself?
No, I agree with you, and yeah, it's a sick card, and like I said, Glazer made us rank the cards. I put her 4th, but I figured, hey, She's going to be a really good card, but only in bounce, I thought, going into the season. The stats on this card are really good. I might have been low. I might have been wrong on her. Like, she seems really good in bounce.
Yeah.
Like game breakingly good in bounce. Like, this card's insane. Like, because she's always a 1/2, and she feels amazing in bounce. Like, she might be the best one. I mean, I have Celine in here. A lot of people are playing Rocket Raccoon on this spot
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I got
But
Rocket
this is a clog bounce, and I just wanted to play some Celine, unironically. I mean, I never get to play this fucking card, so this is a sweet card. So, let me play some Celine. But like, a lot of people are doing Rocket Raccoon and Sasquatch, and to your point, Stanky, a lot of people are playing Symbiote and Black Swan in their bounce decks.
Yeah.
So then it's like you could Black Swan, but then you could always just like Black Swan again, or or you Beast again, or whatever. All
Right.
these are on reveal. Like, you can Symbiote a White Widow. Like, that's pretty good. You
Yeah.
know? Just
It's
two Widow's Kiss. Like, enjoy. Like,
Exactly. I
so
was gonna say clogging up their deck, right?
yeah. Like, so there's like a lot of stuff. Oh, Sage. Like, is another good Symbiote target here.
Mhm.
Like, you just get massive in one lane. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet card. I think my logic was, okay, like, bounce is gonna be sick when this card comes out, but then move's gonna come out and just like poo poo on the bounce deck. But I don't know if that's gonna happen. But especially with Clog, like, move has a hard time with Clog as well.
Oh
So
yeah. Like
who
we were
knows?
saying.
Maybe Sable will win out. Sable seems like I might be low. I might have been low on this card. I think she's probably just like worth picking up.
Awesome in deck, yeah.
I wonder what is the spotlight cash? We got Sable. I bought her with tokens, so you see I didn't even roll here. Sable, US Agent, Mockingbird. I mean, that's decent. Mockingbird you'd want in your collection, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you don't have Mockingbird or US Agent, I say roll, honestly, because I think Sable's going to be like just a premier one drop for a long time, and I don't know if they're going to change her, man. Because like, what do you even adjust here? If you take one power away, she's like a dead card, But if you add one, she's completely busted. So I don't know. They might have to just leave her like this.
Yeah, one. I think one's perfectly fine for that, but yeah, we'll see. Things go.
I'll go over this bounce deck for the audio listeners. I think Yo Woody and Husky came up with this one. I did have my own brew and bounce, but I was playing Rocket Raccoon here, and I was playing Sasquatch. So that was just me trying to build my own bounce deck. But this just feels better, and I'm just gonna copy the good players here. If you want to see some of my spice, go on Joe's Twitter, go on my Twitter. That High Evo spice has been taken over, untapped. Like, we got like 400 games. We're Evo boy. This deck's popping off. A lot of the snap decisions viewers are playing it. So shout out to everybody enjoying the High Evo Spice. But we talked about that on the last pod. We're moving forward now. So let's go to Clog Bounce. It's the Hood, Silver Sable, Nico Minaru, Celine, White Widow, Falcon, Green Goblin, Sage, Werewolf by Night, Beast, Viper, and new Doc Ock. So really cool thing about this deck that I didn't realize, but that's why Yo Woody and Husky are way better players than I am. Celine, she hits the cards, so -3 power to both cards. You obviously love hitting your Hood, and you love hitting your Green Goblin, and we're going to be shipping those cards to the other side, obviously. So you're going to give your opponent some, -6, -9, just disgusting. It's absolutely filthy, and I fucking love it. And so I love doing this bounce or this clog shit. It's just really fun to me. Maybe that's toxic. Maybe that's my toxic trait. I don't know. Anyway, so she afflicts the -3. Obviously, they don't want to play their card. You just hit a -3. So, like, they're not going to play their card you just hit a -3 with, right? But the new Dr. Octopus, pull the lowest power card from your opponent's hand to their side of the location. So you force their card that they do not want to play onto the board. And he's a 4/8. He's also an on reveal, which makes your werewolf bounce again. And he's kind of cheap too. Like, there's no Iron Man in this deck. There's no Dark Hawk, So, like, this is your most expensive card. It's a 4. You're playing with a bunch of cheap ones, maybe zeros, discounted by Beast. And this deck fucks, man. It's so good. So, what do you think about Bounce, Stanky? How have you been playing Bounce? I know you played a little bit of Bounce. Do you think Sable, you enjoying the Bounce decks?
Oh my god, yeah, just Sable in general. I mean, so I've been playing it with like the Hit Monkey in there, right, and like a lot of
nice.
different ones. So like more guns, right? Because you got the Hood with guns. I got Rocket Raccoon with guns. Silver Sable. Well, maybe I should.
You do Mysterio in your Hitmonkey deck?
No, I don't do.
Okay. Just
No.
curious. I want to bring up
Yeah.
this variant too, but yeah, I was just
Oh,
curious.
oh yeah, I have that one too. That one. Oh wow, you customized it too.
Who's that jumping out the sky? REY Mysterio. All
Shout
right, just wondering.
619.
But anyway, yeah, okay, go on. So yeah, you're playing with Hitmonkey.
Exactly, yeah. But anyway, Kitty Pryde, the Collector, Falcon, those are all the same. I play with Hawkeye, Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop, yeah,
I
she's
love
good
that
in
one.
bounce. A lot of people are playing her in bounce. Yeah.
Yeah, like my highest like card in that deck is Beast and Hitmonkey and oh wait, I guess I Werewolf by 9 too, yeah. All those
Mhm.
guys, right? And yeah, exactly what you're saying. Everyone's like moving around, you're dropping it kind of feels like old bounce and stuff like that. But
Yeah, yeah,
obviously, with all the OTA changes, right, that they did like previous week with like the Beast, right, making him from because he was two, right, two cost, now he's three costs and stuff.
yeah.
I think all those OTA changes was because, Sable's coming in and all these things that people are finding out like this week, right?
Mhm.
Which is interesting to me. But yeah, like I love like the Sable, like you mentioned. It's always great when you get Carmertage and stuff like that.
Oh
Um,
God.
it's like pop 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 pop, and in this deck too, right? I feel like because like before, what wasn't bounce before? Like some of the best bounce decks was it Korg or Iceman? Like that's like what Sable would replace, for disruption.
Yeah, I mean, could be a Rocket Raccoon too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't like really in the bounce
I wasn't either.
streets too
Yeah,
much. At least recently. But yeah, I mean, she's crushing here.
exactly.
She's definitely she's the card you want for sure.
Exactly to put in there, and yeah, exactly what you said. So just that's what I've been playing. Just actually, even just this morning, I was like, all right, I'm gonna put like a little like Sable bounce deck right now, and then just try her out with the Monk. Return to Monk.
Monkey. Yeah, no, Hitmonkey's interesting now for sure. Yeah, who knows? Like maybe it is the Hitmonkey era because you can and that's what some people are doing with you could symbiote Spider-Man your monkey too. That's another thing you can do, right? So you just play like a 3/6
Oh my
monkey the
gosh.
first time, but then you throw your Spider-Man there on turn 4 or whatever, right? Or you beast anyway. You can do double monkey and stuff. Oh, what did I just take out of here? I don't know. Uh, Oh, Green Goblin. The Green Goblin. I play this deck enough. I know the list.
Yeah,
I know the list.
William
Green
Defoe.
Goblin. There he is. Yeah. Yeah, he's back. All right. I need to get a border, maybe get a border for this one too.
Oh, I mean that border looks pretty sweet already. Like the orange and like
Yeah, that's
just
true.
like
I've,
that
tried, I've
variant.
tested out the other ones, and yeah, that's true. The
Yeah,
gold seems good. I had this stuck on green for the longest time, and it looks horrible with this.
yeah.
I mean, it's probably not worth getting into here, but like, look at this. Look at this shit. This is terrible.
Oh yeah, that's not the
And
play.
and then I went up to I went up to red. I know this is kind of ugly. What do you think about this, Stanky? Like aesthetically?
Ooh, that's. I mean, this is like a Hellfire Beast, right? So like the red's not bad. Like
That's
thing
what I was
for it.
thinking, yeah. But I was stuck on this because it was before custom stuff came out. Like this is the
Yeah.
old split, and so I was pissed. So finally, when they did custom, I went back to this. I kind of like this a little bit better, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would be good, but anyway,
Extra more shine. Yeah.
enough variant talk. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think Sable's awesome. She a symbiote's really good, like awesome season pass card. You could play it in like half the decks in the game, literally. So
Mhm.
that's pretty sweet. I still don't know how good Symbiote Spider-Man is. Like just as a power level card, I'm definitely suspicious. Still, like but it's like 4/6, probably better than Absorbing Man, honestly. Like
Yeah. Just because
Absorbing Man's a
possibility, right?
4/4 only on reveals. Like Symbiote copies everything. Like so
And
you
it's a
can't do
lower
Absorbing
too.
Man Negasonic, right? Like for
Yeah.
example, like what you were saying.
Exactly, yeah. It's tough, and yeah, it's gonna grab whatever's like in that area, right, as the lowest thing, right? Like, have you encountered where you wanted to activate something and like someone that had prio on you hit you with like the Kate Bishop arrow? Happen yet?
Oh, the no, no. I
Yeah,
think he goes
someone
back
sends
as
an
a
arrow.
4/4.
Yeah, so yeah, he just comes back to you, dude. I'm like, oh.
That's
A lot of
hilarious.
stat moments. There's a lot of stuff, yeah, that people could do because, like, I mean, this is the counterplay, right? So, like, if you see someone have a symbiote Spider-Man didn't activate it yet, right? If they got prio, so a lot of interesting stuff. And like I said, that's what happens when you introduce kind of cards like this. Like, find different ways.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's like a lot of the problems that because you have the same problem with like a Black Panther, for example. Like a lot of the problems you get with a Black Panther Zola, it's like the activate, especially a big activate card, like a 4 cost activate, not like Aranya, which is
Yeah,
1 2 1 cost card, but it's so telegraphed. Like you have to play it first, then you have to wait a turn, and like
yeah,
so they could disrupt you. Like you give them a whole turn to react to exactly what you're doing, and a lot of time you hold the activate till turn 6 anyway because you don't want to get Shang Chi or something. So,
Exactly.
you're holding till 6, and that gives them 2 turns to like completely like fuck up what you're doing. So they could send an arrow, they could throw a Cosmo there, like they
Well,
could throw a Green Goblin, throw some rocks in your lane, like and messes up your Zola, messes up everything. So
I've gone
yeah,
like the White Widow kiss too, right? Like they popped
yeah,
out over there. You're like, oh well.
yeah. It's a super commonly played card. One of the best cards in the game, White Widow. So yeah, it's like
Exactly right.
that's
Combo.
that's why I put him at 5, because I'm like, he's so combo reliant. Like he has to combo with other cards. But my God, man, it feels really good when you get
We
the
were,
combo off. Like so much
we're,
fun. I love this
we're
card.
having a ton of fun, right?
Yeah.
Black Panther, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think phenomenal job on the design team for designing this card. I love it. It kind of fits the lore and everything too. The merge, it's beautiful. This is actually just way more interesting than Hulkbuster. It's like, oh, it's just Hulkbuster. Like no, like it just does the ability too. So it's just Hulkbuster plus Absorbing Man, like combo into one card, just amazing, man. I
Yeah.
fucking love it.
Have you seen like some of the weird stuff with like text, like Dakin and Symbiote Spider-Man? How it doesn't work with him?
It doesn't work.
Yeah, because it copies like the text, right? So if you go to Dakin right now, I saw this like someone was talking about this when I was like looking online, right? And if you look at the shard, right? Look at the shard what it says.
When this is discarded, double Dakin's power. So it's because he's not Dakin. Is that the
He's
idea?
not Dakin anymore. He becomes Black Symbiote Spider-Man that just like makes a shard. So if you
I
destroy the
imagine they
shard,
would fix that because I feel like it's supposed to work with Dakin, right?
yeah, I mean it's interesting like that one doesn't because like it's like the copy. They're very Marvel Snap's very specific with wording, right? How they change so many different things with the
They changed the
words.
text a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
literally.
imagine they will. They'll probably fix that. I imagine that'll be, it's
Yeah.
inevitable. There's going to be bugs with the card that copies every other card in the game, right?
Oh,
Like one of them's
exactly.
going to
You're,
not work, right?
you're
I'm happy
fundamentally.
Galactus works because I could see that one getting messed up somehow. So. But yeah, it should work. Like especially Dakin. Like this is a card you definitely want to play with Symbiote Spider-Man, right? So
Exactly. Oh, it's a
uh,
power card, right? That you
yeah,
double. It's like the Black Panther, but you got break stuff. I want to
yeah,
break
you
things.
get two, and you would get another shard too, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, I mean that's prime. That's prime for that combo.
Yeah.
So I hope they fix that. I think they will, man. They're usually pretty good about that stuff. So okay, let's get into the OTAs.
Yeah.
Stanky King. I'm gonna try. The kid usually does all this stuff, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Nope, that's not it. Boom. All
Boom.
right, tech god here. Okay, so we had the OTAs last week. Like I said, we re-recorded on Wednesday. So with Greg or Snap last week, and we just did like an OTA wish list because the kid had to fly out to Italy on Thursday. So I mean he's out of the country. So we've at least had a week now, not a week, but like 4 or 5 days to 5, 6 days to
Yeah.
kind of play the new OTAs. Digest it rather than like kind of react and project to see what's going on. We actually get to see it in real time. Obviously, on all of our wish lists was Loki.
Yeah.
On all our OTA wish lists, this is the rest of these. I don't think we mentioned any of these other cards on our OTA wish list. So it's really just Loki. So let's get into that. I mean, this is a pretty big change. I think a pretty big nerf. Um, all of us wanted to do just lower the power or increase the cost or take away the draw. And they lowered the cost, which none of us had on our bingo card. So that's a little weird. But anyway, it was a 3/5. Replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck. Maybe I could zoom in here. Nope, that's not great. I don't love that. Okay, not gonna happen. But oh wait, Tech Lord, Tech. Okay, just not happening, Stanky, for
Yes.
me. All right. All right. So replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck. Give them minus cost and draw a card. So it was a 3/5, and that's what it did. Now, new Loki, 2/2. Replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck. Give those cards -1 cost. So no draw card. So they did take away the draw, which I think Gregor called on the OTA wish list. What do you think of the new Loki change, Stanky?
So I mean, this is the beauty of Alliance and all those awards. I mean, you saw me; I'm grinding Alliance this week. It was a
Yeah.
slow week at work, right? So I'm grinding. One of the things I had was you had to like win with blob or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, all right, what kind of blob decks could you make right there? I'm like, well, Loki is like, you don't get the draw and stuff like that. Let's try out that deck now
The
with
bigger blob, yeah, bigger blob. You don't draw the card.
exactly right. So I tried it out this week and like yeah, so you get to use him like much sooner, right? So like
Yeah.
you have the extra power with Airsham, and then yeah, so you have extra power, but yeah, the cost and the no draw of the deck. Yeah, it did seem like a nerf, but like I was still popping with like like that deck. I mean, it's still Airshim deck, right, with Blob. So if you get to run Blob on like 6 or whatever, right, won a couple games with that. But that was kind of fun. Like I get to try out those kinds of decks. I thought it was okay. I think the 2 makes sense now, like with that being like happening sooner. Like 3, I'll think like this card's garbage at like 3 and such.
Like a
So
3-2 or something, yeah, would be pretty
exactly,
shitty,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Why bother at that point? Because like, yeah, I mean, it sticks to the lore. So I thought it was like, okay. I didn't really, I didn't play too much of that deck afterwards and such. But yeah, that was the only like experience I had at least this week with that deck. Have yourself on Loki?
Yeah, like I'm kind of with you. I like this change quite a bit. I know a lot of the content creators are like, oh, it's not enough. He's still broken. I mean, he's really good in Arshem. I still think they could change Arshem. I think this 2/2 Loki seems like a reasonable card, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's still broken. Like I like this new card design. Compared to the last one where it just made your whole hand free basically with Quinjet and everything's -2 cost, and that's horseshit.
Yeah.
So. You basically old Zabu your entire hand, not just 4 costs. That was the old Loki with Quinjets, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. So I like this new version a lot. 2/2, replace your deck with your opponent's starting deck, give those cards -1 cost, and we don't get the crystal now. So it's like a 2/2, 2/2 like better effect than Fastos, but now you have to replace your whole deck. So. There are ways they could change it. Like I was watching Guest Gaming channel, and he had a pretty cool Loki change. So yeah, give that one a listen. I mean, that one's like more intelligent. For me, it's like you said, I think it's still really good in Arshem because now you could turn 1 Loki.
Yeah.
So, but turn 1 Loki is going to be pretty inconsistent, and you don't get the card draw, so you might run out of cards.
Right.
So I mean, if they turn 1 Loki, you got to be looking to retreat in against the Arshem deck, but. If they don't get it on turn 1, and then they got to play a 2/2, like 2/2 is not very good stats. Like Daredevil's 2/2, like you don't want to play him out for the stats. Like he's got a sweet effect, but yeah. So I don't know, like you playing this like later than turn 1 or 2, like it's kind of like just really bad now. Whereas at least before you got 3/5 stats. Like if you played a turn 5 Loki before, it's still pretty good. Like 3/5, you get a draw. You're gonna have basically 2 discounted cards off the top for turn 6. And you got all kinds of options. Especially if you're an Arshem deck, you got more power. You just don't have that with this. You play a freaking 2/2, which is an absolute liability on the board, and you don't get the card draw. So I like this change. Please don't shoot me. I don't know. I haven't seen too much Loki, but we're also like I'm in like pre-infinite meta. There's bots and shit, so I won't know for sure till next week. I think I'm playing against mostly humans. And sweaty tryhard humans in Infinite, playing Arshem and Loki and shit, like unironically, So I haven't played too much of that. I haven't seen too much Loki. I definitely haven't played with him myself. I don't know why we would play the card right after it gets nerfed like this. So, I like to play cards after they get buffed, like a Tuma. It's not a Tuma. But anyway, let's move on to Beast. A lot of people are upset about this one too, Stanky King. So we got Beast. 2/2, return your other cards here to your hand. They cost 1 less next turn. Move to a 3/5. So I'll call this a nerf, personally. Return your cards here to your hand. They cost 1 less next turn. So old Beast that was a 3 cost was a 3/4, same effect, but it did not have the words next turn. So it was a 3/4 Beast, and the cards were permanently discounted. So you could 3/4 Beast. They'd be 0 forever. Then you Falcon, and those cards are still 0. So, now that's not the case. When you Falcon, the cards are always 1. So they don't permanently keep their discount, which is a big deal. That's a big nerf to a card like Hitmonkey, like you're talking about before. So this is still same kind of, nerfed Beast, but it's just a stat change. 2/2 to a 3/5. I've been playing it. He feels pretty good, Bounce feels pretty good to me. I think it's a good deck. I think they did this change because, number 1, Sable's coming out, and then number 2, Toxin's going to be coming out, which is also a 2-cost card. So it's like Falcon's a 2-cost, Toxin's a 2-cost. I mean, I think it'd be fine to just leave Beast as a 2-cost. I don't mind all the bounce cards being 2, but, Second Dinner doesn't like that, I guess. So that might be their reasoning. I don't know. I mean, this doesn't have the, descriptions. Let's see. Oh, they do have the description. Yeah, I guess we can.
Oh yeah.
Scroll down here. Let's see. While it's true that bounce deck. Oh, let's see what they said about Loki real quick, Stanky.
Oh
Now
yeah.
that, now that we're out here, right? We're making a light tweak to. Oh,
Oh,
copycat.
just copy.
Come
Copy.
on. All
Come
right.
on, there it is. Yeah.
We updated Loki earlier this month. We said we'd come back quickly if necessary. Some doubted its strength. It's a lot of reading. That overshot our goal by quite a bit. Happy to see the resulting shifts. We're going to try to tone down Loki's power, make it less efficient. If this doesn't work, we may return to adjusting the effect. Why not just take away the draw, leave it a 3-5 ready for one element of Loki? We heard loud and clear was that the number of Loki cards you can access was a big part of enjoying the card. Okay, so they gave it a little buff. You get an extra card, but then you don't draw the card. So it's the same amount of cards if you played a turn earlier. I guess that kind of makes sense for their logic of what they did about Loki. Do you have any thoughts on this, Stanky? Or?
No, I mean, to what like what they're trying to do. I've always enjoyed Loki because I always thought like, oh, this is like me getting to play like all these other different types of decks, right? Like during the meta, so like I'll get the whole purpose. It fits well with the lore, so that's all good. And yeah, I mean, I think it's good, and they're monitoring, right? They're monitoring all stats when it comes to like Loki. So I think that for sure. The 2/2, I think I like it where it's 2/2, like you're mentioning, like you get to play on like turn 1 in the Airstream deck right now. It's the only deck I think you can play him in, unless I'm mistaken, if there is another Loki deck.
Yeah.
So he fits where he fits, right?
And that's a good point. Like it's like this old 3/5. You could put this in almost any deck, which is kind of horseshit. But you can't just throw a 2/2 in every deck. Like 2/2 is just bad stats. You play a White Widow, you're clogging them. It's like 2/5. It's ridiculous. So
yeah, exactly.
like you can't just throw this card in every deck. But or maybe you can, and like we're kind of missing something, and we haven't experimented enough. But I like this. I think this is a good change, and that's a reasonable explanation. Let's see their reasoning for the beast change, because we kind of went over it. While it's true that bounce decks have been very strong lately, that's only part of why we're making this update. We have some upcoming new cards, so I'm thinking this is Toxin, right? New cards and changes to existing ones that will impact Beast's strength. So yeah, they're saying Toxin and Silver Sable are coming up.
Yeah.
And we've determined the most appropriate solution was to return to Big Beast and move it back up to the curve 3 cost. Okay, I mean, it's a little strange. I don't love the preemptive changes too much because I feel like they're wrong a lot of the time on the meta. And so I don't like them like pre-nerfing cards before they become a problem, and we'll get to that with Taskmaster later. But do you have any thoughts on the 3/5 Beast, Stanky?
Yeah, like I mean that's a really good point you brought up there, right? Like why do it like prior to, right? Because like there's I would rather have that when the first like Sable is going to come out next week. You should have just had it at the same time, but that's why you have the OTAs. Yeah, like you were mentioning too, like I think Beast here, like I guess it is still pretty good. I feel like in like the bounce deck, it's needed. A staple card in that like deck, right? I'm not gonna replace Beast there, so making him the 3/5 does like limit me on like certain turns and stuff. So I'm having a good time with like the new Beast here. I think, and then when Toxic comes out, I think they'll be adjusting it. But like I have this one like just on watch, right? I think they're just monitoring his like win rate and like usage and stuff still.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll leave it. I think they'll leave it when Toxin comes out. I think this is the change. They changed it now, and then they could just release Toxin, and I think that's what they feel comfortable with. So
just make a deck, yeah.
Yeah, so just different curves. So anyway, I mean, it's an interesting change. Let's go back to the graphics. The first graphic's pretty sweet. I like this graphic.
Yes.
I'm a visual guy. I don't want all these paragraphs. I'm trying to fucking read a novel here, but graduated a long time ago. So I want to go back to school. So Taskmaster, I don't say right off the bat, I don't love this at all. Actually, this is one where I think they jumped the gun going preemptive. But set this card's power equal to that of the last card you played. Same effect. Goes from a 5 to a 6 drop. 5/0 Taskmaster was not a problem at all. It was just a fine card in some niche deck scenarios. Pretty good like win condition. You get a Shuri, Red Skull Gamer, or whatever.
Yep.
Plenty of ways you could use this card. Phoenix Force, obviously, big part of this deck. I think they thought maybe with Symbiote Spider-Man is going to get busted because you play the Symbiote, then you activate, then play Taskmaster. So if it's like a Black Panther or something, get like a 48 power Taskmaster, something like that. So they made the curve more difficult. I don't love this. This one, see, Beast one I get more. Like, Sable is coming out, and obviously it's going to be broken with Sable. The Taskmaster wasn't broken at a 5/0. So, moving it to a 6/0, and, even in Mr. Negative, it doesn't even affect that deck that much because Now it's just it's either 05 or an 06. Like, what's the difference? So yeah, I don't love this change. I wish they would have just left it alone and just see for a week if Taskmaster breaks the game, because it hasn't broken the game up to this point. A card that you think would have been able to break the game at some point, like maybe with Old Blob, but obviously Old Blob was the problem. They changed Old Blob, and that's completely gone away. So, what do you think of this Taskmaster change, Stanky?
No, like it. I've only played. I remember playing against one, and yeah, it was the combo like you were talking about, right? Where they like popped off on their Black Panther and stuff, and then they just plopped down like the Taskmaster, and that was kind of it, right? Yeah, like six. Because like before, what are the combos if you have like a five when he's like five stacked in like the old deck? Because I'm thinking about the other decks outside the Symbiote Spider-Man, like in his current.
Human Torch, maybe.
Yeah, you get to. Well, you get to play like one more like one cost card, right? Like on turn 6.
Well, you could play something on turn 6, right? Instead of just Taskmaster. And playing something is like really good in like a Phoenix Force deck, for example, right? So you play your Task on 5, and then you could do like Doctor Strange on 6. You could do like a Goliath on 6. So you could do Cannonball on 6. Like there's all kinds of spicy things you could do on turn 6, and then you already have 2 huge bodies on the board. So say it is Goliath, like you're gonna have priority for sure if you have a freaking 32 power torch and a 32 power task. You're gonna have priority, and like then you could play Goliath, Cannonball, whatever, right? So and like for Phoenix Force, for example, and like I'm not the if the kid was here, he would tell you more intricate answer on the Phoenix Force stuff. But that's just like one example of I think you definitely want to play him on 5 in that deck.
Who have you seen any Taskmasters like with this last like week with Symbiote? I don't look.
I haven't seen him at all, actually. Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's what I said. I've only seen him once.
The Filthy Casuals, shout out to Filthy Casuals, our alliance. I've seen some of the boys are playing it in negative still.
Okay, yeah.
Which
like you said,
sense.
I mean, he's just gonna copy the power though, right? Like so to the 6, so it's just like an extra card you get to play because he's still 0, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, just other than that, I don't like you were mentioning, and I don't think there's any upcoming cards either that like similar to Spider-Man where like they're gonna like buffed up like I get to copy like a high powered card at this point or make that. So interesting. It just seems like one of those random ones that they always put out there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What do they say here? So it might be a little out of left field. Yeah, man, it's out of left field. What the fuck? What are you guys doing? Like, relax. Players ask about cards like, design constraints, and they can be Taskmasters, but quietly been another as well. Okay, offering a clean and consistent way to duplicate power. Well, it's been a while since Taskmaster was truly problematic. What do you mean, been a while? It's never been truly problematic. What are you talking about? Been a while? Like, are they saying because Shuri Red Skull was Taskmaster's fault? Like, because that's crazy. Truly problem. Like, it was clearly Shuri was the problem there, and they fixed Shuri, and that deck went right in the toilet. So our most competitive players, upcoming decks, where 5 cost was just going to be way too much, and they did that in capitals too. Way too much, all capital letters. So this is the emphasis here. I'm picking up on the subtleties here. Normally, our default practice, let the metagame sort itself out. That would be nice to let the metagame sort itself out. I would have liked that personally. But something busted often is pretty fun. However, in this case, the concerns were so substantial and the deck so strong that we've decided to shortcut the post-nerf state, which we still believe supports some great decks. Have fun looking for them. You shouldn't expect to see this sort of preemptive action going forward either. Okay, well that makes me feel a little bit better anyway. They said you shouldn't expect to see preemptive action going forward. So they are not. Right. They don't want to do it. But there was some, deck in the ether that was so broken as a 5-0 Taskmaster, and it was going to break the game that they had to move him to a 6. So, hey, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if the deck involved specifically Symbiote Spider-Man too. I suspect it did, honestly.
I thought that's what it might be. Like, it's how large he could get, and then you're like, 6. Win 2 lanes there.
Yeah, you could play it on 5. Yeah, you could activate and then play Task on 5. You could do both on 5 and then something else on 6. Sounds pretty strong, but doesn't sound like, Arsham Loki, doesn't sound like freaking, Thena, Copycat, what, like, I don't know. It still sounds like a shittier deck to me than all the top decks, like this Taskmaster stuff. There's so many counters to Taskmaster. Like, literally everything counters. Like, Shadow King down to 0, Shang-Chi dead. Like, Cosmo like nothing. So I don't know. Okay, Cannonball back up to 1. Um, Great change. I don't think they should have nerfed him in the first place.
Yeah.
But I think he was good card at 5'7", and I think he's a good card at 5'8". I don't think you play Cannonball for the power. I think his effect is just really powerful effect. Cannonball's been he's had a hard time.
Yeah.
Prof X,
Prof X,
his best friend, Prof X. R.I.P. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Say a prayer for the prof. He's dead. His next best friend, which I was just abusing in the Deadpool diner, like I said, for 30 million bubs. Dr. Octopus pulled the whole hand out, clogged the entire lane, Cannonball another lane. He's dead. R.I.P. to him too. So Cannonball's he had a bit of a rough run out. So they're giving him a little sympathy power here, but I still think he's playable at a 5'7", 5'8". Do you have any thoughts on Cannonball, Stanky?
I actually played him a bit too because I was messing around with a little bit of junk. I think when I was going from 80 to 90, in the ladder there. So I was playing some cannon. I was making a junk deck because that's actually how I first thought about Sable. I was like, all right, well I'm making a lot of cards a lower. I'll throw a little junk so everything's in there, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll throw a Cannonball. He's got a little power in there, let's pop some people and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a good time. Everything was clogged up. All people, you have who's the 1/5 that switches sides every time you play a card.
Titanium.
Titania was bouncing on that side. You have all that. And then they couldn't play cards. Had a lot of retreat kind of things where, and then you keep Cannonball turn 6. I'm like, oh, I'll just wait. All right, and pop. There goes your best card there, and then there's a rock on that side. So yeah, nothing game breaking. I think with being 5'8", it's just Cannonball just getting a little bit of love there. I don't see anything extra there. What do you?
No, I'm with you. I played a lot of that deck a month ago, and yeah, it still works, man. You clog one lane, and then you just Cannonball the other lane, and it's great. It works, especially if you pass priority. They're gonna play a big guy, and your Cannonball comes in. One pound.
Yeah.
Wrong. It's great,
Yeah, so,
man. I love it. So, yeah.
I'm curious. Yeah, what did the what did the creators say? Why they just gave him? It's seemed a little weak, but
card play weight was so the stats were too good when it was 5'8" earlier. Of course, you had Prof X and thing.
Yeah.
And now the win rate has gone down, so they brought him back up. Okay, that's fair.
No,
that's good that they do that anyway.
But it's funny because I don't know why you do double, right? I think it's like you said, it's for the effect, right? So I think when you do the doctor, his best friends, right, Dr. Octopus and Prof X are gone. It's why you don't really need to lower him. So sorry, I'm giving him a 5'8". Ooh, these are the fun ones. I think the next.
Oh yeah. So this is a wild change. So it's not a tumor. So yeah, shout out to Gunny T. I mean, we got another big dumb idiot live here, and honestly, just in person, Gunny T was freaking out about this change. Just every second he got, just not a tumor. he's like, what about what's called obsidian? Let me tell you a Marvel Snap joke. What's called obsidian? I'm like, I don't know what. He's like, he's not a tumor. So this is great. So old Atuma after each turn, destroy this. If you have another card here, horrible card, just terrible.
Terrible.
It was the bot. It was the bot. You knew it was the bot. If you saw Atuma before, this is a bot. He's gonna try to play armor on top of his Atuma. Probably play a destroyer in another lane, and that's a bot deck. So
yeah,
that's Atuma. New Atuma is wild. After each turn, destroy one of your cards here with less power. So it's kind of targeted. So he doesn't kill himself anymore. He kills your low power cards. I'll say I love this change. Really cool. It's a really interesting card now. I've played a good amount of him in Destroy. I think he's really good in Destroy. He's like a machine. He just keeps. You just keep throwing you could throw your Deadpool in there. You could throw a Wolverine in there. It doesn't matter. He just keeps popping. I think he's really good with. See, you got Destroyer here too. Nimrod, you play turn 4 Atuma, turn 5 Nimrod. You don't have to pop the Nimrod. He just gets popped. He's less power than 10, so he gets popped. And if you have, big cards, like a Null or a Death or something, and you want to pump the Atuma lane, you don't have to worry about them getting popped because they have more power than Atuma. So as long as your other card has 10 or more power, Atuma won't kill them. So
exactly.
it's pretty sick. So yeah, what do you think about new Atuma Stank?
No, I think like what you were mentioning too, like I love when they do those types of changes where like, it is fun having the RNG where this card does have some RNG, but where it's like the old Moon Knight used to be like, oh, you discard random card, and now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
discard like an even card. Or Blade used to be discard any card. And it's like, well, let's discard like the one what's the other one? Spider Ham, right? So like this one's kind of in that same realm where you got a big card and it has to be lower. And like you were saying, I was like, so it's funny, like when we were talking, this card was like in the back of my mind because like Symbiote Spider Man, all this stuff. I'm like, why would I play Destroy anymore? But like last week I did play like a ton of like a tomb. I'm like, oh, exactly what you're saying, right? This guy's a machine. Like for Destroy Engine, you put him somewhere. Or he's raised somewhere and you put some cards and like this card's getting popped. If you want X-23 for the extra energy, I don't have to waste like destroying all of them in a certain section unless you need to. But that adds to the strategy, right? So having him like destroy all that, and he's a middle management card too. Like when you mentioned, he doesn't pop the bigger cards. He knows his place, right?
Yeah.
He's been beat so much, like no one's using this card. He kills himself all the time. Now
Yeah,
I'm gonna beat these
the
small cards.
peasants.
Exactly. I'm gonna crush these small ones, and then like, oh, the big dog. You're cool with me. I'm not hurting you. So overall, love this change. Great, like you add to the archetype, you add to destroy like a different flavor of destroy, right? Because sometimes you play like the old pure destroy decks with like death and what's it called?
No.
Null, right? And it's like those ones are kind of big. All right, I gotta destroy all these cards. So I gotta do this for my alliance. I just gotta destroy all these things. Killmonger goes off. Having a Tuma, which is like a 4/10, and then it kind of adds like more fun stuff to that. So really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's true. It makes the destroy deck a lot less linear for sure. And like you said, X-23, like a lot of the time, the RNG's in your favor, and X-23 just hops into his lane,
Oh yeah.
unprovoked. She just gets in there, or Wolverine just hops in there, and it's like, okay, sweet, you just get a free proc on X-23 or Wolverine because they just hop around the board. They have a mind of their own, those cards. So he fits like perfect with those cards. Like he's gonna pop your Wolverine up to 8 power, which is great. So yeah, I mean, sick change here. I love this, and I like that you brought up the Moon Knight example because it's like you have this Moon Knight card. It's just a dog shit card, for all of Marvel Snap. And Moon Knight's cool, and people actually like the show. Like hers, actually it's a good show. Like cool is hero, and you're just the unplayable card in Marvel Snap, which sucks. The same thing with Captain America for years. Still kind of is, tough to play Captain America even these days. But I think really good in the Spectrum deck, but. Yeah, that's literally it. So it's cool that Atuma is like a real Marvel Snap card now. You have a few niche scenarios where you could play him, and he's really good in those decks. So that's an awesome change. This Destroyer change is strange to me. Let's see what they said about this first. Let's mix it up a bit. So because I mean this is a weird change to me. I like it. I've been playing a lot of Destroyer.
Yeah.
We even looked at a couple of the decks. I'll get into the Atuma deck after. But Carlos likes the Destroyer change. My dog's barking at. Yeah, Carlos not a fan of Destroyer personally, so he had to bark at that. So let's see, Cannonball Destroyer. Okay, let's see what they said first,
Yeah,
and then
I'm
I'll
curious,
ask you
yeah.
your thoughts, Kev. So. We're sure many of you have a soft spot for Destroyer from the early series days. Not me. I don't get sentimental like that, I guess. But using 0 armor Cosmo, dodge the downside, maybe with the side of Warpath. Yeah, we're not doing that. However, this rad card has struggled to find its legs in later stage play, so we've decided to change the effect so a better chance of supporting cards like Nimrod and Death. See, I found a lot of scenarios. This new Destroyer is actually worse for Nimrod because sometimes you want to pop the lane Nimrods in because you want to spread your power. You don't want to stack everything on one. And so you actually do want to kill all the lanes for Nimrod specifically, but it's more targeted. So, anyway, sometimes it's better, sometimes worse for Nimrod specifically. Even Death, maybe Death you want to kill more cards, make Death free. So, they say this, but it could be worse for both of these, like clearly, you could like very clearly see that it could be worse for both because it just destroys less cards. So that's worse for Death, and then you might want to kill the Nimrod in his lane. So given how well Destroyer can challenge to win his own location now, this is true. We're also taking back a bit of power as compensation. What do you think, Stanky King?
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. I'm like, okay, this is a cool interaction now where it's like I think everyone's had that moment where what's it, the Black Mirror location. You know, you're playing. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put a card here, and you get destroyed.
Oh,
Everything
yeah,
dies. And you're like, oh, that's great. That's
yeah.
true. You expect to happen. Or what's another card that copies the ability, and it destroys like all cards. But anyway, to the point. Yeah.
There's the one
So
where you play a card and it's like the same cost, changed to the same cost, like Tarnax or something.
oh,
Uh,
Tana, yes, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
you play a 6, it turns to Destroyer. Like,
Oh, then like everything dies.
yeah,
Yeah, so like, and 616, I'm like, okay, I didn't care too much for this car. I didn't run them to my deck. I tried doing those destroyer decks with like the armor and everything, and I think you kind of like you circled everything, you outlined everything perfectly. Like before, when I first like, I was like, I'll try out the new destroyer and stuff like that. And there was times where I'm just like, I want to spread that power and like Nimrod, in certain spots, but like I can't destroy him if he's like in like this lane, right? And it's like
yeah.
it sucks now because you can't do that anymore, right? If you want to play that play, right, or destroy more cards than you want to destroy, right? Or if like someone's running control against me, it's tougher to do. So it's kind of funny because like in the previous card we were talking about how you want to have more detail and very how things are done, right? You want to discard like even cards in your deck. You want to like specifically attack this is like specifically taking two locations. You can destroy two locations, but you have to keep whatever is in yours like doesn't get destroyed. Where I see in areas where it does work, like they mentioned Warpath. Yeah, I get that. You could run that, or arm and stuff like that. So to me, I'm like not too much, and yeah, and now he's 14 too. He used to be like 16 card beast before back in the day, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, maybe yes, because I think you did people run it with Shuri before as well, where you could run that in 6 or
I don't know if they play it with Shuri. Yeah.
that double, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's just my feels. I was more so I played more Atuma than I played Destroyer on that end. But yeah, for your thoughts.
Yeah, and like to your point, like if you want to play it, spread your Nimrods out, and you are playing it with Atuma, you now have to kill your Atuma, because your Nimrod's in the Atuma lane. You kill your Atuma. You don't want to do that. Like he's a 410, so I do think the text change is a buff overall for sure.
Yeah, because
There are, like I said, there are scenarios where it is a nerf. Like you want to kill your Nimrod in the lane, you want to kill more cards to make death free, or you want to kill more cards to make your null even bigger. So if you kill the lane too, your null gets even bigger. You don't need all the cards, all the shit on the board if you're just gonna play null death on the last turn. Like, who cares? The null's gonna be a 60 power null. You don't like so it's GG anyway. So, like that and that. But overall, it is nice to be able to say, okay, like I like this lane. I could just play destroyer there. Like.
right.
I don't have to, or if I want to kill everything, I'll just play him off to like the side in his own lane, if I do want to nuke the whole board. So you kind of have a little more control, and I do think this text makes the card a little more interesting, and it does give you a little more control, and to me felt like a buff, because it's not like kill your whole board always,
Yeah.
and I feel like kill your whole board always is usually just a losing situation, you're usually just losing the game if you're doing that. So at least it's a little more targeted, and obviously the 14 power body is really nice. The one thing I would say is I wish they would have just they said, we're not going to do preemptive changes. They literally just said that. Where, like, you shouldn't expect to see this sort of preemptive action going forward either. This is not a fucking preemptive action. Like, they're just lying. You're just lying to me here. 14 power. This, to me, sounds like a preemptive action. Why not change the text, leave him at 16, let's see if he's broken, And spoiler alert, I don't think he is. I don't think it's a broken card at his old power. It's not like, okay, top 10 cards in the game. You got, you got Thena, you got Destroyer, 616. Like, no. Like, it's just, he's not one of the best cards in the game at a 16, I don't think. So, I wish they would have left his power, give him the buff on the text. Is Destroyer really going to break Marvel Snap? Like, and if he does, I mean, fuck, let's just see. He's been shit for so long. So, it's been a really bad card for a really long time. I don't love the 2 power nerf. But I do like this change a lot, and it makes her some little more big brain, a little more interesting plays on not just like I play card, stuff goes boom boom, and then whatever, Like you have to put a little more thought into where you play them, where you set your cards up beforehand, because you got to think ahead of time. Okay, I'm probably gonna put the destroyer here, so I do need to make sure I'm like up in one of the other lanes, or I somehow have a way to contest the other lanes where I'm gonna play the destroyer. So. Like if you play a Bucky Barnes or something, you could play him on your Winter Soldier. You don't want to kill your Winter Soldier, for example,
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah,
this, right?
because he used to be his own tier at 16 too, right? Like he used to be, I think I think what only Infinite, like just base power, just
Hmm.
was stronger than him, right? Because now he's Giganto, like level power as well, right?
Hmm.
Or and Agatha as well is 14. So
They got to pump Agatha. Agatha's weak, man.
yeah, I agree.
Agatha's got to be 18, I think.
Hey, you know
Right.
what? Agatha's got a show coming out this month.
Yeah,
Maybe they can pump her up. That's
it's
the
time to pump
stomps.
those stunts.
It's
There's
stomps
stank
time.
and there's stunts. They got to
Yeah.
pump those stunts. Yeah. So yeah, Destroyer, interesting change. I've been playing the card a lot, and I've been having fun. But I had fun with the old one too. So I don't know. Copycat. I mean, to me, this is basically a non-change. I don't
Yeah.
know. We don't have to get too into it, but instead of stealing the text from the bottom, she now copies it. So I think in most games this is just not going to come up because they're not going to draw the bottom card of their deck. But if you play a Copycat, you play a Korg, shuffle their deck. Now they don't draw a brick. And in Darkhawk, you definitely want them drawing bricks. That's like the whole point of the Darkhawk deck. So you throw rocks in their deck so they draw freaking rocks. Copycat made basically another rock in their deck because you're turning one of their cards into like a vanilla bullshit card. So unless it's like Infinite, you're pretty happy, with stealing the effect. But you're not happy because now you have a 3/5 Infinite in your hand, which sucks.
I was gonna say I hated getting Vanilla coffee.
Yeah, yeah, it's not good. So
I mean,
that
that's
aspect is out, but you still get the intel. You still see what's at the bottom of their deck. So if they don't shuffle, like you still like all the info. I still think she's a really good card. I think this is like an awesome card still, a premier 3-drop, one of the best cards in the game, honestly. And I don't think this changes that much. It's a slight nerf to her, and I think a card that needed to be slightly nerfed, especially with all the other threes. Cassandra Nova got nerfed. What was the other one? Just recently, I forget. Okay, I'm drawing a blank, but they nerfed a couple. Oh, Nocturne. Nocturne got a huge
Nocturne,
nerf.
yeah, Nocturne. Yeah,
So yeah, they nerfed Cassandra Nova, they nerfed Nocturne. So obviously the what everybody was doing, just play Copycat. Is what I did at SnapCon, just abuse this card.
Yeah.
And so little slight nerf to Copycat, I think is good, but they didn't change her power, so she's still 3/5 with a powerful effect. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Stan?
No, I was gonna say it is. I think it is a nerf just with like the stealing was like on top of it. But the thing is, it was so good already, right? You already had like you mentioned like the intel. The power is pretty solid for being a 3/5. Like with that ability, like everything, like to me, like say so taking that one thing I thought was good. Like they like nerfed her. Hey, you're like a good card that you should have like in the decks and stuff like that. Overall, yeah, I'll still be using her like in some of my decks when I need like that 3 card just for like that type of ability. And it did suck, man. I remember this game. Oh, well, there goes the ability on one of my card. Oh,
Yeah.
there goes my Iron Man. Like, oh, that's good. You know what I mean? So now that's gone. And just being, like, how they're having it, right? Because yeah, if you do get like near like the end of your deck, right, like for certain decks, you come up with that situation. So not a bad change. I don't mind. I don't mind that they nerfed her for that one.
Yeah, there's definitely situations in Marvel Snap where you do get into that situation, right? Like, there's a location pop up that says, draw 2 cards or something, and it's like a
Exactly, yeah.
weird world, draw your opponent, all this shit, right? So you really want to steal in all those situations, like, magic into, you're playing a mill deck or something, whatever, right? So, yeah, the steal, it comes up once in a while, but yeah, I'm happy they nerfed the card. I will say, like, I did say this kind of about Shadow King. A while ago, they changed Shadow King. So basically, like, Shadow King now goes through Luke Cage. And again, we're talking about preemptive changes. Now that we're on the Symbiote Spider-Man Taskmaster season, and more importantly, to me, the Madam Web, Sydney Sweeney, shout out Sydney Sweeney, Madam Web, Aranya season, like, I think the Shadow King change, I think I was wrong about that. Because basically what I said was it's basically never going to come up. Almost no decks run Luke Cage to defend against Shadow King. There was like one deck in the game that was popular for a week that ran Luke Cage like with like old Angela, Athena.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now you can't Shadow King me. But these cards get up to like 8-9 power. You can't get Shang-Chi either. So you play the Luke Cage. It was like a Noki deck or something,
Yeah.
just like a Loki with no Loki or whatever, right? So a bunch of little cards. U.S. Agent was in there. Anyway, that was a popular deck for like a week, and Luke Cage was a big part of that deck. But that was it. And so basically, like 97% of situations, the Shadow King didn't come up. But I think Shadow King is going to come up a lot for move now, because you're going to have these giant Human Torches. You're going to have these massive daggers. And you're going to have these massive vultures, and they're going to be bouncing around the board like crazy. And there's going to be no real way to stop a Shadow King now. Because if I was building this move deck with the old Shadow King, I would put Luke Cage in the deck. And it's like, now you have to Shang-Chi. And good luck Shang-Chi, because my shit's moving around. You know, I'm moving. So, like, you know, a Shadow King you could just throw out. He's a 2-power, like, whatever. You know, he hits or he whiffs. Like, you could throw him out, easier to predict. And so I think that's kind of interesting. Change the Shadow. So the Shadow King thing, I think, is going to come up a lot. This Copycat, I mean, they have to draw the bottom card of the deck for it to ever come up. They have to see the bottom card of the deck, and I think that's just a niche scenario, personally.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense.
But when it does, she's nerfed, and that's good. It's good that they nerfed her.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fucking broken card before, probably. So, yeah. Okay, so that's the OTA changes. Let's get into some other decks we're playing, and then we'll get into Stank or Stonks. So let's go back. So we talked about the Clog Bounce, and we talked about Stanky Symbiote, and we also talked about Wakanda Forever. Let me pull up this deck real quick. You know, this is if you don't want to play Sable and Bounce, you want to play something a little different. I think I got the idea from Dexter Snapster. He was playing some Cerebro 3, and he's playing in the top 100. So you know he's out there. He's fighting the good fight. I played some C3, and it feels pretty strong right now. Now he's playing it with Ravonna. The 2/2 Ravonna feels weak to me in C3. I mean, it just felt so good before, and then obviously, like, you know, it cucks your Bast. Like, your Bast just gets cucked because you had a Ravonna discount, Bast comes out, now you don't discount. So they have a little anti-synergy, but basically, most games you choose one, which was fine when Ravonna was a 2/3, because she's also getting pumped by Cerebro. But as a 2/2 Ravonna, you have to Valkyrie her, or you have to Bast her. And it's just like, but if you Bast, then she doesn't work. It's just like, it's just weird. So I thought it was kind of bad. So this is the list I've been playing. I switched out some cards. And he was playing Kate Bishop over Sentinel. I don't know, man. I think that's too fancy. Just play the freaking Sentinel, you know? It's just never-ending 2/3s, and you're playing a Cerebro 3 deck. I don't know. Sounds kind of good to me. So this deck's Wasp, Bast, Silver Sable, the GIF, Quake. Quake's fun in here, so this is an addition, you know? That's what I took out, Kate Bishop. You put a Quake in there. Sentinel, U.S. Agent, Cerebro, Mystique, Luke Cage, Iron Man, and Valk. So it's, you're mostly focused on, if you are pumping these cards, you're gonna pump them with Bast. U.S. Agent can solo lane by himself. 5/3 Iron Man's crazy. Valk just wins lanes on her own. Like when you Valk your Cerebro, you Valk your Mystique, they become a 3. They get pumped up. Obviously Quake can steal games on her own, and she's also a 3-power card. And so this is a deck where you're not focused on bouncing Sable, playing Silver Sable again, bouncing her. She's just a really good 1/3. What Cerebro 3 players used to do is play like a freaking Blade, hope the Blade doesn't screw them, and it's like, okay, like it was tough. So now you got like a reliable 1/3 that has an actual good effect. I think she's awesome in here. So Stank King, you were gonna say something about the Cerebro gaming?
No. I mean, this deck is cool. I might have to try this out. Like, I anytime you can run like a Valkyrie, like Valkyrie might get some popularity, right, against like move decks, right? Because then it's like all like the power is like to 3 now.
Oh yeah, back to 3. Yeah.
Exactly. And U.S. Agent that only impacts like your opponent's cards, right? I don't have the pleasure of owning the US Agent.
No, it impacts both. That's why we got the Luke. That's why we protect the neighborhood here.
Yeah, I was gonna say you protect your Iron Man and your Let's go ahead. Oh, that's really cool.
You got to either protect your neighborhood, or we only have 2 big cards. So the U.S. Agent, you could just fill up the lane with all these little shit cards.
Monsters, yeah.
That's what I usually do. I play Silver Sable 1. You throw the U.S. Agent next to the Silver Sable. Just play little cards onto the U.S. Agent. Sentinel, you throw a Sentinel in your U.S. Agent lane. So then if they shut off your Luke Cage, you don't just like auto lose or something. So U.S. Agent in general, I like just fill up the lane with a bunch of little cards. Make them try to contest it. They still have to contest with -4, and all your little cards are getting pumped by Cerebro.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say about that.
Yeah. So you throw your 0/3 Wasp in there, like he doesn't get hit by U.S. Agent. So yeah. I think that's how I play it personally. But worst case, you always got Luke Cage if you have to play an Iron Man or a Valk in there or something.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, and there's replacements for U.S. Agent Stanky. Like you don't have to play him in here. Like Dexter was playing Kate Bishop. you could just play Ravona. You know, Ravona discounts Cerebro, Iron Man, and Mystique. So you could do like turn 4 Cerebro Mystique, and so there's literally whenever you're building a Cerebro deck, if you don't know, like if you're new, someone wants to new and you're a filthy casual like me, you're trying to try out new ideas. You go to this tab here where it says energy. You go power. Let's sort by power. So 1, 2, not 4 drops, all cards. Okay, here we go. So these are zeros, these are 1s, 2, 3s. So these are all Cerebro 3 cards. So some people play Scarlet Witch. They like the location control.
Oh, low
If
control.
you don't like the randomness, you play Rhino. Rhino's also a 3, So that's one thing some people do. This is what people were trying to do with the Blade. You have a Blade, you have Swarm, 2 0-3s. It's a bunch of 3s. Someone play Gambit. Gambit in Cerebro 3 I've seen. Juggernaut. Juggernaut's a good one. Just a good tech card. It's 3/3. Another one. Where's the good boy?
Card.
This is a great Cerebro 3 card right here. This guy will just win you games. The good boy Cosmo.
So much symbiote play too, right? Like activates, put a little boy there.
Yeah, exactly. You auto win against all the Black Panther stuff. So this card's fucking sick. Red Guardian.
Oh, the Guardian.
Great Cerebro 3 card. So if you don't have US Agent, there's plenty of options there. I mean, that's the fun of Cerebro decks. You just go power 3. I've tried to copium my way through this one because the kid always, anytime I bring up Cerebro on this pod, the kid's just like, "Whoa, I never draw my Cerebro." Wham! I'm like, "Well, bro, just play Crystal then."
Yeah. Play your Pot of Greed. What was that Yu-Gi-Oh card? Because before Pot of Greed was broken, but then they made a card where both of us draw a deck. That's the same card, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe Cup of Ace or something like that. I don't know. That one's the flip a coin. Either one draws. I don't remember. Oh no, not Upstart. Upstart Goblin was always draw a card, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember the one that made both people draw. Did I have? Oh, not Atuma.
Oh yeah, you gotta show everyone the Atuma. Yeah.
Talked about the Atuma change. This is new not Atuma list. The whole list. I tried. Okay, Kevin. I tried Angel. I tried Sabretooth. New Angel, new Sabretooth. I tried Zola. I tried... Sabretooth was actually pretty close to good, but I found the Deadpool, just the fact that he initially cost 1, and Sabretooth cost... I think if they made Sabretooth a 2/4, he'd be a really interesting card. Just having to pay 3 for the Sabretooth is just a lot. But anyway, so this deck is... this is a really fun and good destroy deck if you want to try the new Atuma out and you haven't found a shell that you like yet. Deadpool, Nico, X-23, Carnage, Wolverine, Magic, Venom, Deathlock, Atuma, Null, Destroyer, and Death. Yeah. So the whole deck is basically like, how can we abuse Null and Death to the absolute maximum? And Deadpool's more of like, he's like a 1/4 or 1/8 usually. He's not a big part of the game plan. On other Deadpool decks, you're trying to pump your Deadpool. The whole deck is built around Deadpool basically. You might even be running Taskmaster to copy your Deadpool, but that card's 6 cost now, so we don't play that shit anymore. That got nuked by the OTAs. So this deck is more Deadpool's just he contributes to the game plan. He's not like the main part of it. You're not buffing him. There's no Forge, no Hulkbuster, so it's not a Deadpool focused game plan. But Magic lets you draw an extra card, right? So all the way you're down to 2 cards buried in your deck, and then so what you do is you hold Nico Minoru until her spell goes to draw 2, and then you literally draw your whole deck. So if you go to turn 7 and you get Nico draw 2, you will see your entire deck, and that guarantees that you get Null, you get Death, and Destroyer just wipes out the entire board. So that's a free Death, that's a gigantic Null. The whole time Atuma's just popping off. You throw your Wolverine in here. Throw your Wolverine in the Atuma lane. Throw your Deadpool in the Atuma lane. Throw X-23 in the Atuma lane.
Exactly.
Boom, boom, boom. He's going boom, boom. And then on the other lanes, you play your Venom, you play your Deathlock, you play your Carnage. So you're setting up all these cards. A lot of time a really good Destroyer will come up. And the nice thing with Destroyer, too, is it kind of like your opponent looks at you and they're like, oh, they're playing for this lane. Like, I got to contest this lane. And you go, nah, boom. Let's just erase that. We're going to relocate. Yeah. So, you zap it all, and it's really good, really fun deck, and just a new way to play Destroy, which, man, Destroy has been the exact same deck for a really long time.
So boring, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I usually hate getting those ones where you have to destroy cards, like this many cards. All right, just go to the true classic kind of thing.
That's the big one I did in the Alliance this season. That's basically all my bounties are. I got the legendary one. That's like destroy 8 cards in a match. I'm like, all right, it's time to run. It's not a
Not a
Tuma.
Tuma.
Because Destroyer will just do it on his own. He'll kill like 7 cards on his own. So it's
Yeah, I was
pretty
gonna
nice.
say
So
a
yeah,
big benefit for me too was like for Atuma, I actually have a couple Atuma variants, and like I'm like "Oh, I'm never gonna use these things. So as soon as they said they like
oh,
that's gotta be like the best feeling. The opposite, who was it? America Chavez. I used to have like so many America Chavez and like so
yeah,
much like power with it because like she was one of the best cards, right?
yeah.
And then I'm like, well, now I can't use her as much. And then they change her a couple times. But with Atuma, I'm like, these are cool variants, but I can't, casual Dan Hip ones with Atuma.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness to America Chavez is still kind of like that, right? Like she's tough to play. Like it's like you
That's what I'm
gotta
saying.
play
It's the
Surfer.
opposite, yeah. Because like
Yeah,
I had like so many variants, but I'm like, oh, now I can't use any of these.
you're definitely look at my sweet Atuma collection. I just absolutely nothing.
Oh, I know. I just got like the Dan Hip one, right? Because
Yeah.
I think it goes like Pixel, and then Dan Hip is like the second one that like there's like the majority of like them are.
Dan Hipatuma's sick though. That would look sick.
Yes. I gotta get. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very happy with that one.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. So this deck's sweet, and yeah, man. You're not even like really cucked by the magic. You could play turn 6 if you suspect they're gonna shut it off. You put out so much power on turn 6. So I mean, this is just a sweet deck. Definitely recommend it. I think that's about it, right? Did we? Yeah, we went through your deck, C3,
Yeah.
Clog Bounce. Yeah, all these. I mean, Big Dick Wick. These are decks from back in the day. So, Jonk and
Junk.
Stonks. Okay. Less enough talk about the decks. Let's talk about this activate mechanic a little bit. So, we got this new mechanic in the game, and a lot of people on the Twitter, the content people, they're like, well, if we're gonna put it on Symbiote Spider-Man and Aranya, okay, what else can we put activate on? Can we revive some of these dead cards that nobody plays, and if we just change them to activate, does that fix the card? Does it make it better? So a lot of people are speculating that, and I think this came in a data mine where we had Black Swan and we had
Yeah.
Hellcow. There's the hip. Yeah,
Oh,
Hellcow.
great
Let's,
variant.
let's get,
Yeah,
gotta get
boost that
him.
one up all
Yeah,
life.
we gotta get. Let's get him.
I
Can't just
love
have
it.
naked border Hellcow variant.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're streaming right now.
Yeah, we're doing a split, bros. All right, so Dan Hip, Hellcow here. If this was an activate, see, I don't know. I've heard that this would be too broken. I don't think this would be too broken if it was an activate. What do you think if Hellcow was an activate?
Yeah, I thought about that as well. Like with Hell, like especially a Hellcow, right? So you're playing it on 4, and then yeah, you can activate whenever, kind of thing. Because I get it, right? You don't want to like kill certain cards in your hand. Like I'm trying to think like what deck, if you're running like old Hella and all that kind of things, and you would just select probably like the 5th turn, like all right, now I'm gonna start discarding what's in my hand and stuff before you play, right? So like I don't mind. I get it why you would make it a 4/8, but I can't. I also don't have. I got the 8 brain. I'm not sure when you would like have a benefit of playing this one out, right?
Well, I'm
Like,
I'm with you. I mean, I play a lot of discard. To me, I mean, maybe it's an unpopular opinion. If you've changed this just to instead of on reveal activate, I think it's a straight up nerf to Hellcow. Hellcow is already a really tough card to run. Like it's
Yeah.
not a great card, honestly. But if you're playing Hellcow, you do want to play him on turn 4 specifically.
Right.
Like you're playing him as like a MODOK alternative. So it's like we got to play the Hellcow. We got to kind of see where we're at. But I didn't draw MODOK, but I have APOC, I have Swarm, I have Proxima in my hand. Let's run the Hellcow. Let's see what he hits. He hits a Proxima and an APOC. Like maybe I snap on that.
Right.
Like if you change this to activate, then you don't get to play him on 4. And I think a big thing, because say you wait till 5, you might top deck your MODOK now. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, now I just got random 4/8. Playing MODOK. I don't know. It's like it's kind of maybe it's okay, but I think that if they're gonna change, hey, there we go.
Yeah.
If they're gonna change Hellcow to activate, I think they gotta make him a 3 cost. I think that's the play.
Ooh,
So
that'd be smart.
I like the activate. Yeah, exactly. But just make him like a 3/6 maybe 3/6 activate. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Most of the 3s are overstated, but Swordmaster's a 3/7, so he only discards 1. Hellcow would be the 2. And because then you can do them on 4. You know, if you can't play them on 4, then it's only turn 5, and you probably never want to play Hellcow on 6 unless you're playing some collector fucking helicarrier shit. Like, when are you ever going to want to discard 2 cards on turn 6 because the game's just over? So okay, you have a bunch of swarms in your hand, you can't even play them now. You know, so like you got a big apocalypse. You know, now Dracula has to hit him, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, to me, I think. I don't love you know, just straight up changing and activate, but I would love it if they moved them to maybe 3/6 activate discard 2. Would be kind of fun. And
So I got a
yeah.
question. I got a question then, and maybe you know or you don't. So if this one or like Black Swan get changed to activate, are they no longer on reveal cards? So like Cosmo
Yes,
won't have any effect on it?
right, exactly. Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting then. Yeah, it's like anything where it's like on reveal doesn't work. Like so you can play this on was it nowhere and stuff now.
Yeah, on reveal
Yeah.
abilities
So
won't
now
happen
he'd
here.
be
So yeah,
activate.
activate
Ooh,
will happen.
and now it's funny that I'm talking about like all this anti stuff. So like there potentially could be like on ongoing no activate abilities like on this lane or something. Could be a
Yeah,
future
and
thing.
they probably need to put that in the game, honestly. Like,
Well, I mean, I think you let it
there's
run
no
random.
release valve.
Right now, like you gotta like the people want to play the activate. We gotta activate stuff, and then you
Yes.
put the control in after. Right, gotta get people interested. I mean, people are interested, right, with like the latest patch. So, yeah, that one. So yeah, I guess that would be interesting. But I agree with you. I think if you put the cost there, it makes way more sense. Like when you want to discard, you just activate there and do that. So very interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up with the anti, because it's like, okay, for this month we're only gonna have 2 activate cards, so you know you could just balance those 2 cards. Like, as long as Symbiote's not broken, as long as
Right.
Aranya's not broken, it's okay. Like, it's just 2 cards, very easy to just go nerf one of those cards if it's too crazy and you can't counter it, right? But if they keep adding activate cards to the game, yeah, eventually we're gonna need some sort of counter, some sort of release
Just
valve. It's like, I put Cosmo there, he doesn't do anything. You know, so I guess one thing you could do is, like, if you happen to counter the card beforehand, like if it isn't on, like, say it's Galactus, right? Cosmo
yeah,
still works because Galactus isn't on reveal, right? So whatever you're, but that's just symbiote. That's just symbiote
just a bit.
specific.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So with Aranya, like that doesn't help. Cosmo doesn't do shit to Aranya, right? So
Like
yeah.
literally, you'll just need the Russian to take care of it. Like the big red guardian has to take care of like these activate
Yeah,
cards.
that's
Like
true. Red
beforehand.
Guardian's a good,
You
yeah, it's
just
just a kind of a save all, right? Okay, so the other one's Black Swan. This one, see,
yeah.
this one's kind of interesting. So what do you think about making Black Swan like just straight up change this to activate? What do you think?
Well, so like I'm yeah she because she was the season pass card a while ago, right? Like during the what was that the Black Order or something like whatever that event was, right? And like I tried to make her. I'm like it's whatever, right? Because like you want to pop off with this one. Like this one's really good, where like you can swarm the field with a bunch of like one cards, all that stuff. Hit monkey with her was supposed to be like the player, right? And now you make this activate, right? Because like before it's like, all right, I got to play this on what turn 5, right? If I want to like have that big pop off, obviously get cucked by like Sandman. But now if you like make her like you play her at 3, maybe you could adjust like when you can. Yeah, have to be 3 or 2. You play her down, and then you could just chill on that, right? And then like wait till you
Yeah,
turn like
let's say for this example, she just stays this exact stat line,
okay,
three
yeah.
five. Yeah.
So yeah, make her 3. You pop her down on 3. And then yeah, you just chilling until like when you do want to have those big pop off plays, right? Big pop off time, pop 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 pop, and all that stuff, right? Because yeah, it's also active, so it's not on reveal as well. Because like I think that was always like the big thing with Black Swan, where I had a tough time. I don't know if you played her. I mean, looking at your variants here, I'm sure you haven't really played.
No, it's
Her.
tough card. I'm not a fan of this card. I'm to be honest.
Yeah, but because we like add these activate, right, where it was awkward playing with these types of cards before, activate just like opens that kind of avenue. I think that's my opinion on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I think you outlined everything there. I don't have much to add to that. I think she was just a hard card to play before. The problem I had with Black Swan was, like, I want to play my ones early, you know? Like, that's the whole point of having a bunch of one cost cards in the deck. You play them early.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I play them early, and then, like, what the hell is the Black Swan going to do? So, like, I have to bounce them back. But yeah, then if you have Activate, I mean, shit, you could time it perfectly. So for me, I think, people are saying, is it stank or is it stonks? To me, I'm with you. I think if they change this to activate, to me, that stonks. And I
That's
think
for
I would
sure.
mess around with it a little bit. I actually really like this one. If they just change this from on reveal to activate, to me, that stonks. Do you think this is stank or stonks?
I think it stonks too. I mean, I think a lot of this activate just opens
I'm gonna
up
let
this.
my dog outside too while you go. Sorry, Ken.
This for me. I'm solo on the podcast here. Yeah, just any cost. Like, there's a couple of people that are thinking, and I think when No Big Deal gets back here, we'll talk about Zabu. But like, I feel like Black Swan now being an activate just changes all that. So anything where we change these mechanics, activate's big, in my opinion.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My dog, he's fired up about the activate mechanic, so he's got to go outside and run around. Okay, so also I didn't do, so let's say 4-8. I'm saying stank for this, personally. I don't think this is good. I think this is stank and not
Yeah.
stonks. I didn't do that. Yeah, we're saying stank.
This is for sure a stank
Yeah.
gang. It like you were mentioning, like when you like it would as it sits right now, you just make this activate. I think like the only buff I see is that it's like it's not an on reveal anymore. That's about it. And then like that's
Oh,
also
like a Dracula.
right, exactly. So it's like you can't really do anything about that one. So
Yeah, that's an interesting change. I mean, yeah, for me, it's just, hey, move him to a 3-6 maybe, and then we're talking.
yeah,
Lower the cost, because then you would
yeah,
still do the discard on 4.
yeah. But I
So
mean,
that would be
no,
stonks. But as it stands, 4-8 Hellcow activate, to me, that's stank.
yeah.
So,
Like well,
yeah, go
I was
ahead,
just
sorry.
gonna say that unless someone comes on and just comments, and then you and me would not be part of the herd mentality for the hell cow. Ooh.
Ooh. That's a
Yeah,
good
but
one. I like
were
it.
those the only ones data mined right now? Because I mean, I have like my list of the ones I was gonna talk about.
Those
Later.
were the two, yeah. And yeah, we've heard rumors. Let's talk about Zabu. Let's talk about Zabu
Yes,
now.
yeah, I literally said that as you were editing. I'm like, we're gonna talk about Zabu because it's a cost
Yeah,
one, right?
because this one is, there's some rumors. I mean, I still have default. Obviously, I got the boosters for this one. I've played some Zabu in my day, but
Right.
still no variant. But that's all right. We'll get. Oh, except Savage Land. But I think it's kind of shit variant, honestly. So look at this.
Yeah.
This just looks like NES cover. Like if you're back in the day, you're playing like Super Nintendo. Like this is what the covers look
Yeah,
like. The
I was
Savage
gonna say,
Land.
yeah. He kind of looks like my tattoo, like my Zabu tattoo when I was really big into Marvel Snap. I was
No,
like,
your tat looks better than this. This variant's
yeah,
funny. Your tat looks sick. This thing sucks. But anyway, so I like my default Zabu, for now.
yeah.
But I'm looking for, when I get a variant, I'll start blasting the boosters on it. But
The
anyway,
key. Yeah.
so what if Zabu was activate? So I mean, again, we have a big problem here where if you play him on 2, you now can't play a 4-drop on 3. So
Yeah.
right off the bat, like, I don't know. So like, are we saying 1-2, 1-2 activate? What do you think, Stanky King?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I mean, I think that's the big one everyone's talking about because I mean, for the filthy casuals that are just joining you're on Series 1, 2 cards, like, Zabu was like the card, right? Back in the day, you pop that. Like, who else was 4 at that time, right? There
This is
was
the best
like,
card in the game. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, the big one was like Spider-Man absorbing was ridiculous.
oh my gosh, yeah.
Spider-Man absorbing was completely obnoxious. You locked the whole board down. Another one was, which was like maybe the best deck in the game, was just Darkhawk.
Yeah,
Like Darkhawk was a 4 and Rock Slide was a 4/6. So Zabu used to discount those by 2. So it's like 2 cost
Yeah.
6 power Rock Slide and 2 cost freaking Darkhawk, which was like a 4/1. He wasn't even a 4/0 back then. So
Yeah.
it was completely busted. I obviously didn't have the card Darkhawk at the time,
Yeah.
so. I just had
And he was-
Zabu. I was playing my Jessica Jones. I was playing Rescue.
yeah.
That's what I was doing because I just started playing the game. So, but I picked up Zabu. It was my first season pass actually. So, yeah,
Yeah,
he was busted. He got me through the first month, which was great.
Right, because he was ongoing at that time too, and then when they made those nerfs this year, they're like, all right, now he's on reveal, and like now where he sits right now, where he's 2/3, so he makes like 1 cost, so you get your you get Spider Man, but you're right, it's an awkward fit at like 2/3, right? Because you're playing him on 2, or I guess when would you play him? You play him on, well, are we saying he's activated at that time?
That's what I'm saying. So I'll just say right off the bat, I think it's stank. I think it's straight up stank.
Yeah.
If you change this card, you change the Unreal to activate. Same with Hellcow. I think it's stank because you really want to play him on 2. I mean, this is basically a Psylocke for 4 drops right now. So, and it only works with 4 drops, 4 cost cards. So
Right, only 1 set of
I
cards.
think if he goes to a 1/2 with activate this, then it's maybe an interesting card, and I could get behind stonks on that. But yeah, 2/3 Zabu to me is stank.
Right, because I guess because if you want to use him too, like as a late game thing, right? Because you would have to play them before 5, then activate them. That thing too with activate cards, right? You have to play them like prior to 6 if you ever want to use it, right? Like 5 at
Exactly.
the
Yeah,
latest.
there is
So,
a downside. I mean, Activate's cool, but like you said, there's a big downside where they don't go off the turn you play 'em, which you really need for a lot of cards. You
yeah,
know, this is what
but I
people
mean,
aren't. I feel like people
yeah,
are missing that on the discourse. Like, you want Hellcow to fucking happen on 4. You know.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
the timing, right? Because I and that's cool though, right? About activate. So no,
Yeah.
I think we're in agreement with that one as well. Because like yeah, this Natalie Portman and the Black Swan is just like really good because that's like all cards, like zero calls, so all that
Yeah.
stuff can happen, and you get to choose when. Zabu, I think it'll be interesting because I think they will do it. To be honest with you, like everyone's talking about, they will do it. I guess you have the pop off potential, but like yeah, maybe it is a cost adjustment that you need for it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is because Zabu. I think he's coming in one of the caches in October. So a lot of the
Um,
newer players haven't picked up Zabu yet, but they also didn't experience how busted he was. You know, so
there we go.
they might return him to some of his former glory to kind of pump the cash up a little bit, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true because yeah, Natalie Portman, if you play her on 3, you get either turn 4 discount, turn 5 discount, or turn 6 discount. Like you have 3 turns to. I get to choose when to put all my cards to 0, so I could wait. So turn 4 I get bounce, and then turn 5 activate Black Swan. Or no, turn 5 play it. Yeah, I guess that line doesn't even work now that I
Right.
say it
Yeah.
out loud. Yeah, so it's tricky. But I guess with Falcon, yeah, you could turn 4 Falcon. That's what you would do.
Yeah.
So you play Black Swan on 3, Falcon on 4, activate on 5. Then
There
that's
you
a
go.
pretty sweet play. Yeah, actually that'd be a sick play actually,
I
and
said,
not even just Falcon, also Toxin. So Toxin and Falcon because both those cards
ooh,
don't
yeah.
discount. So Black Swan activate with discount. Then I think she'd be a staple in bounce. Actually, I mean a lot of people are already playing Black Swan in bounce. So
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
So,
yeah, make her activate. I think really interesting card. Probably wouldn't go in Thanos though, which was her
oh,
original
shoot. That
thing that
was,
she was supposed to go in. I don't
is
think she
that
would
the,
fit in that deck. What else you got, Stank? You got any other ideas for
ooh, I
the?
do. So I kind of like, I'll break them down. I'm not sure how much time we got for time. I actually forgot
Oh,
to
we're
mention
good,
this
man.
one.
Yeah, we're chilling.
So I forgot to mention when, we were talking about, hey, which cards should we talk about? So discard, right? So we're talking about, Hell Cow is like discard, right? Like activate, do all that stuff. How do you feel because Gambit as a discard one? I mean, I know you want to use them, but like, situation because you need to discard a card, right, to get that destroy
I like
ability.
that a lot, actually. Yeah.
Be cool, right? He's just a cannon. You're just gonna be waiting for it. You got cards in your hand, and then you just activate. And he goes, with all the popularity of Channing Tatum. Spoiler alert for Deadpool and Wolverine. Channing Tatum's coming in here. He's got these cards, and like you literally just have a cannon at any time. Granted, it's a random cannon, but like you get to pick when it's like choo, discard, pop, and stuff like
So,
that.
so you would definitely piss off a small segment of the Marvel Snap community if you did that. And these are the people that they want to play. You play your Wong, and then you play your Mystique, and
Oh,
then turn
true.
6 you play a Gambit, or Gambit, then Odin or something, whatever, and ba 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 ba, right? Like or an Invisible Woman first, whatever, Wong Gambit, Odin, and just machine gun down their whole board. The miracle turn, that dies if you make him an
Oh, true.
activate card.
Because he's no longer on Real. Interesting. I forgot about that.
Right, you have to activate them. So it doesn't work with Invisible Woman. Doesn't work on and turn 6 is like the surprise. You got to wait for them to play their cards
Right.
before I pop them all with Gambit, right? With Channing Tatum. So yeah. So then it's like at least you would kill that deck, but I actually really like that change, and I would say stonks for that.
Yeah, the cost.
Because I'm a discard player, and I actually would consider Gambit now because it's like, oh shit, if I have my Hela in my hand or I have my Modok in my hand, I just don't activate it. But I could still play them, and then maybe I could activate on turn 6 after I've already played my Modok or whatever, right? And you could proc it, you could set it up for you get another guaranteed hit on Apocalypse on 6. So you dump your hand on 6, and then just click activate. You get
Yeah.
and you hit your Apocalypse. Dracula hits your Apocalypse,
Ooh,
and you kill a card. That sounds fucking great to me.
sounds cool,
So
man.
yeah, I actually like that. I don't know if it'd be good, but I would definitely mess around with it personally. So
Yeah.
I think that's a stonks. That's a pretty cool idea.
Here's the other discard one I had on my list. I forgot to mention too. What do you think about Ghost Rider being activate? So instead of like bringing one back, like right now, you can pick when you want to bring a card like into the thing, into
It,
on the board.
it's interesting, but I would say stank personally.
For this
Is my
one, yeah.
first reaction to that. Just because the way when Ghost Rider, when I thought this card was really good, I mean, we had old Zabu, which always
Okay,
discounted
yeah.
him, and we had Sarah, and you play him in like a Black Knight deck, and a lot of the time, Ghost Rider is like the main thing you want to play on 6 in that deck. So you play like Ghost Rider Shang-Chi, you know, or you play Ghost Rider Ebony Blade because you discount them with Zabu or Sarah,
Oh,
and
right.
that's kind of your pop off turn. And so for me, that's how I like to play Ghost Rider. Got a good split on this one, by the way.
That is a fire split.
Yeah, I like the split, but
Reyes,
yeah, I got the
yeah.
Rainbow Crackle and the gold back, but you know, the Robbie Reyes. But anyway, so for me, but that's maybe just bias. I haven't put that much thought into it. I mean, you play on 4, so then 5 or 6. Is there that much benefit to delaying it? I guess you don't get Shang-Chi would be the main benefit I could think
A
about.
delay one, yeah.
What do you think would be the main benefit to not having him go on 4 specifically?
I guess yeah, you kind of measure it with like Shang-Chi, right? Just because if you have like what's it called, don't have prio, right, and you want to bring like one of those big cards back, I would just like wait and you could activate it. So like, oh, I'm gonna bring a big guy out after he tries to do something, right? Yeah, I think those were the ones with Ghost Rider. I think those were the 3 discard ones. So Hellcow, Ghost Rider, Gambit were the 3 I was thinking of. It's kind of funny, like
Sorry,
yeah,
to the people. We're unedited pod this week.
we with Activate. Do you think like because like I kind of like broke it down from cost, move, discard, and then I didn't know how to do the other 2. But do you think of any other discard ones that you could think of that you would want to do?
I think for the most part, you want these cards like they're on reveal, and on reveal's good, and you want to play them the turn like like Moon Knight. You want to play him right, like so like you play him the turn he goes down right, on reveal. So I don't know, man. I actually I don't think we need to change the discard. I like the discard stuff the way it is personally, but the Gambit one is really interesting to me because the Gambit's a big downside. So.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Moving, I mean, you cool if I'm just gonna keep going with these ones.
Oh,
yeah. Move. I saw some people think that they're gonna make because they already work this way. Jeff and I guess Jeff couldn't be unless he has 2 effects. Jeff and Nocturne become activate because they only move once. So you plop them down and then they become activate, just as like a what's that thing called, a clerical thing. Mm-hmm. But I think Jeff you couldn't do because he already has the ability where you can go to and you can play him on any location as well. Mm-hmm. But that one's just clerical. The big one for move for me is Doctor Strange. I think Doctor Strange would be really cool as an activate card because when you use him, he's a 2/3. I'm not sure when you pop him in these move decks, right? It's like, all right, I gotta find the right time to play him and like with something's power. I just pop him on 2, and then like as I do things, I can then activate him at that spot. Maybe a late game play, right? Like if you want him to be located somewhere else, you can like, and I guess like counterplay too is like the if someone saw that, it's kind of like telegraphed, right? Like okay, well he has a Human Torch that's really big or a Vulture that's really big. I'm just gonna play my Shang-Chi if I don't have priority, right? Like in this location, is pop your guy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Doctor Strange one's interesting. I think really cool for turn 6 specifically, right? Like or maybe you do it on 5 and kind of fake them out, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ability to play at any time is like really interesting. You can wait till you get your Hercules set up. You wait till you get your Madam Web set up. But you could play the Strange on curve, and then once you get Hercules out, then you play like Vulture, activate Strange, bring the Strange over, boom, bounce the Hercules, whatever, right? Obviously, Vulture's not big enough power, but once you get something big enough power, you got your whole board set up. That's interesting. I actually can't give you a stank or a stonk on that. I'm kind of neutral, because I kind of like Doctor Strange the way he is, Like mm-hmm. I'm like a pretty big fan of this card, but his stats haven't been crazy. He hasn't been in any real big meta decks or anything, so it makes sense that you'd want to change Doctor Strange, right? Change your ways, changing your name. But yeah, so I kind of like the way if you had the gun to my head, I would say stank, but I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's interesting for sure.
Yeah. Ooh, and it's funny because how I'm always talking about on reveal cards, right? These are all on reveal cards. Mm-hmm. What do you and I don't know, off the top of my head, thinking about how an ongoing activate one, where basically you would activate and that ability just turns on for the rest of the game. Let's see if we can
find one that's bad. What would be?
What do you think about what's his name? Professor X, having that like shut down the lane at that point. Obviously, you can play a card, but then he would just turn that on. But you just obviously have to change his power. You have to change his power or energy.
4. He'd have to go to 4 for sure. Would it make that much of a difference? I kind of like it. I kind of like that actually.
Right.
Yeah, change him to like maybe a 4-3. You know, because the way he is now, he's obviously dog shit. I mean, I said it the day they changed him. I said it's a dead card, and I think I was right. I'm gonna mess around with this card when Aranya and Madam Web come out because I think so many people are gonna just be playing Shang-Chi, Shadow King, and like I can't really play Cosmo to protect my giant shit because all the move cards are on reveal. So I just cuck myself with a Cosmo. But if you slam a Professor X, you can still moving is the only way to add or remove a card from here. So you know you can still get in there with all the move stuff. You know, so if you could Aranya into the Prof X lane, you could Hercules bounce into there, or you can Iron Fist into there if you're going left. So you know Heimdall into it. So you could always go in, and your opponent probably can't go in if they're not also playing a move deck. So I think it's maybe going to be interesting. But yeah, if you're going to change to activate, I like that, man. I say stonks. 4 cost Prof X with activate sounds really interesting because maybe you don't always want to lock the lane down, you know?
No, I mean mind games, right? You're like, oh, nothing, right? And they're gonna think, okay, I can't play anything in that lane or like move into that lane.
Yeah, and then you just leave it. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
I like
which is like, yeah, it's a mind game. The Professor X.
Oh, what about the claw? The claw would be kind of funny. Yeah, it's like, oh, turn it on. No, but you'd always want it on. Yeah, claw.
Yeah,
that's the thing. All these ongoing cards. I think. Typhoid Mary.
Ooh, when you want to make them negative.
Depends on your deck, right? So what if you're playing Ajax? You know.
Oh, and then just boom. It's like, oh, that's kind of.
Yeah, you're dodging. You're dodging their Shang-Chi with your tiny Ajax. You're 5/7. Then you click turn 6. Typhoid Mary. Boom. He goes up. Or you don't want the downside, and you just have a vanilla 410. You know, that's kind of cool. I think I kind of like the Typhoid Mary.
Well, do you change her though from 410 though? Do you think the power's too high? Because then she's just a 410.
Maybe 4/8. Maybe 4/8. Yeah.
I gotta do something real quick too.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I think with the Typhoid Mary, I mean they don't want a generic 410 in the game, right? Like if we look at just 4 costs, take off ongoing here. I don't know why it's just giving me 5 costs. Call Obsidian has a restriction here, right? You can only play this where you have a 1 cost card. Atuma, blows up your own cards. They just changed that, but still technically a downside. Crossbones, you have to be winning. So if we had generic 410 Typhoid Mary, probably too broken, but I think 4/8, 4/10, kind of an interesting way to play the Typhoid Mary for sure. So
sorry,
yeah. Basically, to sum up, because I was saying, look, Kevin, I was looking at the other ones, and all these have restrictions, right? You need a 1 cost, call Obsidian. Crossbones, you need Prio. Atuma blows your shit up. So, you can't just have a 410 with no downside. So, I think 4/8, 4/8. But, Typhoid Mary, I think she deserves some love, she's a great card right So,
Mary.
this is a cool one for sure. Do you have any other ones?
Well, I mean, the one I was talking about that'd be super interesting and chaotic. Super Giant. I think Super Giant being able to.
Yeah, I love this actually. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because that would just change. Because like as soon as you turn that on, like they can't like some combos just get messed up, right? On that kind of change, if you can't reveal them until the end of the game, which is So I thought that was an interesting one because right now, like, have you played Super Giant in a while? Like, I haven't played Super Giant in a while. I own her, but I was like,
Recently, no, but I've played the card at like a decent amount. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's a big one. I always thought like Super Giant would be super interesting.
Yeah, if we go Super Giant it has to be a 3 cost, I think, because just a whole value proposition of this card is shut down their MODOK, shut down their Jane Foster, shut down their big, their Sarah, like you shut off their Sarah basically. So, their big, like 5 cost slam that they're trying to play, the massive appeal of this card is to shut that off. So I think you have to make her 3 cost if you're going to do that. But 3/4, 3/3 Super Giant. I mean, she was originally like a 1 in the data mines, which was going to be completely busted. But, maybe a 3 that has activate. Pretty cool. I like that a lot. And then another one, Guest Gaming brought this up, was the Guardians. So to me, Super Giant's a stonk, and Prof X is stonks. Do you think either of those are stank?
Oh, sorry, say again. Which one?
Supergiant and Prof X. Do you think either are stank or do you like stonks for both?
I think it'd be interesting, like just how like well at their current power, yeah, I think there's stank, but I think there's like double adjustments you have to do, right? So they might be stank just from the power adjustment and
Yeah,
energy
and I think
adjustment.
Typhoid Mary too. Yeah, bring her down to a 4/8.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really cool. 4/8, activate. Your other cards here have -1 power.
yeah,
You could turn that on 5, and then you have a free abomination if you want.
yeah,
Stuff like that.
yeah.
It'd be kind of cool.
Actually, before you go to Guardians, I think Guardians we're gonna do like the whole Guardians set. What do you think about Stegatron? Stegron being an activate card. You get to choose when you get to like move someone's like card in that lane.
For me, I would say stank.
You know, like move. Or is it too much power? I like because it's a 4 card already, right? 4 cost.
It's kind of what I've been saying the whole time about activate. Is just when I play Stegron, I probably want to move the thing on that turn. I want to clog them on that turn. If I play it, then they can set up their board so they don't get clogged, or they know they're about to get clogged on whatever lane I'm trying to clog.
Yeah.
And so you give them a whole turn to react to my Stegron play. I want Stegron to be like a surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, pop.
What
Yeah,
pop
right
with the
away.
tail. Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
Stegron's getting some support pretty soon. I think it's a card called Scream. I want to say that's coming out in
oh yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah.
early
October.
October.
Yeah,
So Stegron will be interesting in that deck. The Kingpin Stegron deck it might be like a real deck once Scream comes out because she or he or
yeah,
who knows. I don't want to assume Scream's gender, but Scream I think is like +2 every time an opponent's card moves or something like that. So it's like can get really crazy, and I think Stegron will be a part of that deck. So I like it. From the Stegron that I've played in the Kingpin deck, I like it kind of the way he is personally.
no, gotcha. Okay, Guardians.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, like on discussing this. As soon as you said Guardians, like very interested.
Yeah, so for me, Guest Gaming, proposed this. Just literally make all. He said basically, like Rocket Raccoon seems some play, and then all the other Guardians basically don't see any play. Maybe a little bit of Star Lord, maybe a little bit of Gamora, once in a while, but for the most part, and look, I've brought this up a million times on this podcast. I think this effect, this Guardians of the Galaxy, like the way they design this effect, I think is really cool. I like the idea of like, and it's really satisfying and fun to me. It's like I predicted which lane you played in, I get reward for it. What I've been saying this whole time is the reward is fucking horrible. Like, what do I get as a reward? I played a 3/3, now it's a 3/7. Oh, I just played Gladiator, he's a 3/8. I could play Speed, he's like a 3/8, 3/9. Like what? Like look at Groot. Like he's so cute. He's Vin Diesel. He is Groot, and it's just like they've just been doing these guys dirty. Like, and
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool game mechanic. I want to play like Jean Grey, Punisher, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I want to build these decks. The cards are already in the game. Mantis. Like Mantis is dog shit. Like so.
Yeah.
Now for Guest's idea, making these cards activate to me. Sorry, Guest. I think it's stank. I just. It's like it's fine. I don't think it fixes the problem. To me, the problem is very clearly that the reward is not big enough. You get to a respectable amount of power if you read their soul and guess right. You get a respectable amount of power, or you could just play other cards that just have a respectable amount of power all the time. So to me, the cards just need to be bigger. Raccoon's great. They got that one good because it's a 1/5
It's one
if you
card,
guess
yeah,
right.
1/5.
And then if you bounce it, it goes to a 1/9. I mean, it's sick. So this card's sick right now. I like it. I think it's well designed. The other 4, more power, buff them. I think Groot straight up just needs like a 2 power buff. To the top end. This needs to say +6 here. If your opponent played here +4, this got to say +6. He's got to go to a 3/9 if you guess right, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
what do you
no,
think? All the Guardians. So because if on basically what he proposed, I want to try to And by the way, Guess had the sickest Kang change. I'll bring that up later. But the way he framed it, Stanky, is you could just wait till turn 6, right? So you play all your Guardians, and then you could just activate them all on turn 6. And it's like if they play there, they get fucked, right? But if they don't play there, then whatever, who cares? They didn't play there. You're winning anyway, right? So if you wait till turn 6 and then just activate all your Guardians, then it's pretty much always going to hit. To me, that's boring gameplay that takes away from the spirit of trying to guess, getting rewarded to guess. I really like the game mechanic. Like I'm super into it. But these cards fucking suck. They're just dog shit cards. So these are just bottom tier, F tier cards, unfortunately. So what do you think?
No, I was gonna. So he's saying all of them would be activate and same like reward where it's like it's just enter power and whatever.
Same power, everything. You're not changing anything. Just make them all
What's
activate.
Mantis do again? It's like grab the card that you played.
What's that, sir? Oh, yeah, he said Mantis too. Actually, he mentioned Mantis in his too.
I'm just thinking of the Guardians of the Galaxy, that whole deck, because like it would be like you were mentioning, it would be really cool. And I remember because when did they change it? Yeah, like with Jean Grey, I thought okay, maybe we're gonna see a little bit. Oh, that's a sick variant. Yeah, I'm gonna copy one of the copy one of the cards. Yeah, I think like to what you're saying, like the root of the issue isn't so much the what's they call it the gameplay where you're just trying to guess where they play. It's like the reward you get back into it, yeah, and just making them activate because it'd be the same reward. Yeah, like I guess you get all that power, and enough to push the needle? I don't think it is at this point. I think you just do either an overhaul because I rather have cards like this though. I will say that I rather have cards like Mantis for the Guardians, where it's like each one like one just would be power, right? Why can't one be like if I guess you're there, pop.
Yeah, like Drax should be power, right? He's the big
Drax
guy.
the Destroyer. His name
Let
is
Drax be the big power guy.
So like yeah, if you play in this lane, he pops you. If you're lower than him or something like that. Like I think
that'd be cool.
That'd be real. But then again, sometimes you want the whole archetype to be that, and you like let's play all the Guardians together. Whereas that one would just be like, all right, I'm just gonna use Drax just because, right? I'm just using Rocket Raccoon just because he has that ability, kind of thing. So
that's a good point. Yeah, Rocket Raccoon could like do negative affliction. Like like make a -3 or something, like if they played it, -3 to that card, because like it's guns or whatever. Yeah, Star Lord. I don't know. Star Lord like looks at their hand or something because he's got the I don't know, something like that. I don't know. Like you said, you could do lore accurate, cool effects for each one. That's I didn't even think of that. That's a pretty cool idea.
Or Star Lord can move something like that, like all those kinds of things. Because I think Nebula was also a card that was supposed to like. Make you want to play because like if Nebula's played in a lane, okay, if you don't play a card in this lane, she's just gonna get stronger, right?
Yeah.
And so like, all right, I know you're gonna play in my lane. I'm just gonna guess you're gonna keep going in my lane, kind of.
To me, that's a fun deck. That's a cool archetype. It's in the game. We have all the cards. The cards just fucking suck. And I think even if the activate thing that Guest proposed makes them good, that's not fun to me. Like I just wait till turn 6 and then I click activate on everything. I'm just basically playing stat sticks at that point. Like I may as well just play Shuri Red Skull or Big Dumb Idiot Scar fucking deck. It's the same thing as just playing a bunch of points. Like that's not a fun. The way it is now it's so fun. Like it's really smart, fun, cool design. There's a bunch of synergy. They just need to. I mean, Carlos hates this conversation. My dog's whining in the background. But Anyway, that's what I think. So what do you think about that? So like, do you like the idea of changing the Guardians cards? Like
I think
that stonks maybe or
I think the Guardians do need to change, and I would love if you do get to have to play like all 6. Maybe you do like some sort of Infinity Stone thing too, where if you play 6, something happens. But as the activate and like the way that you propose it to me, I think it stinks at that point.
Yeah. So anyway, some cool ideas. Get the brain juices flowing. Obviously, you could do this with almost the whole game. But I'll wrap it up here. Stanky Kang. Yeah. Thank you for coming on, man. You're the man. Thank you for doing this. I know you've been grinding Snap all week too, so you came prepared and. I love it, man. So, do you got any shout-outs, anything you want to say to the people before we wrap up here?
No. Had a great time. Thanks for having me. If you ever need backup, if Alex goes on vacation, just let me know. Or we come back on the pod, and I'll be listening to it. Nothing much else. Shout out. I'm not on. I was thinking about getting a Twitter and just making it my what's it called?
Marvel Snap.
Yeah, Marvel Snap kind of thing that I could follow all the cool decks that everyone wants to play in. Like. I hope like everyone's just been posting like Bully Maguire this week because with Black Symbiote Spider-Man just like as just for everything that's happening. But
I want to throw a little dirt in your eye.
Just a little dirt. But I've been honestly having a great time. Happy with what everyone's been doing with Marvel Snap. It's been great. Yeah,
doing the Bully Maguire.
Shout out the Black Spider-Man shirt I'm rocking right now.
Oh yeah, I missed the part where that's my problem. The classic. Okay, well, yeah. Thanks, man, for coming on. Appreciate it. Shout out to everybody. Send the kid you love. He's enjoying some well-earned rest and relaxation. We'll see you next week. I gotta find somebody to come on next week. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully I can figure out how to upload this. That would be a shame. We just did 2 hours, but you know, what can you do? Anyway, to everybody, peace.